We are good to go. Hello, folks. Today, yet again, we are back with the one, the only, the Minister of Smooth himself, Mr.
Hey,
Marvel. How you doing, my friend?
how you doing? I'm all right, brother. How are you?
I'm doing quite good, even though today's been a odd day considering. Turns out my store credit, my comic book store, I've whittled it down to a tiny shavings, and
Oh,
but it's not too bad. It's not too bad. I've coasted throughout the past year, but yeah, it's been quite interesting to see. Yeah. Oh, I hear myself coming through like echo.
oh, my
It's
bad,
kind
my
of weird.
bad. No,
Oh, it's okay.
I usually will watch the live feed on another
Okay.
device so I can see the chat.
Okay. Well, you can. Is there an option to mute the
Well, no,
feed?
I
Because
just
that's what I
muted
do.
it, so we shouldn't. My
Yeah.
bad.
Because
We shouldn't hear that no more.
yeah, it gets a little weird because it's like you start hearing yourself and then you're like, oh, what? It's like
Yeah, it's freaky.
it could
Even
drive you nuts.
like even me for a sec there, I was like, oh, which one of them is the real Larry? I can't.
Don't shoot me, shoot the other me.
Right?
Yeah, it's like I
Mr. Larry King, it
yes,
is a
sir.
pleasure to be with you today. It is a pleasure to be with you tonight. Um, I bring an awesome comic book theory to you.
All
Um,
right.
so last night I did a live stream with Cayman, Switchpoint, and Nerd Wonder,
Hmm.
and it was really fun. It was really fun. We discussed the changes to comic book art throughout the year. Well, we tried to stay on subject, but um, regardless, afterwards, we had a little bit of banter, a little bit of banter when we got off air. And long story short, I ended up blowing my mind away with a really awesome comic book theory.
Ooh, okay.
And
Sounds
here,
interesting.
here it goes, brother. Um, okay, so we all know in Gabby Rivera's run of America Chavez, she uh, goes back in time and punches Hitler instead of Captain America. Well, what does a good nerd know? She created an alternate timeline. Anything that happens right now in SJW Marvel isn't really happening in the real universe. It's happening in a timeline created by America Chavez when she punched Hitler instead of Captain America. I need help filling in the holes, but I think we can make a really good theory out of this. If anything, a fan theory.
Well, okay. So, okay, first off, she's from an alternate universe to begin with. Before Gabby, came on board and did what she did. I know. I can't remember exactly who. I want to say it was Joe. Oh hell, what was his name? The creator of America.
I
Uh,
Tip of my tongue. Tip of my
yeah,
tongue.
I know. I know. I could picture the guy's face. Joe Kelly, I believe. I think it was Joe Kelly. Who? But you have that character. So then after Marvel does the Civil War, the Secret Wars, where they basically pull a Crisis on Infinite Earths and collapse everything down and bring it back. So at that point, you could say the timelines merge because everything happens after that point is a part of a kind of like a pocket dimension. But for this theory, we'll go with you okay on that end? It sounds like
I got a little static. My bad. My
okay.
headphones are shut, and I've been yelled at for being too loud. So
Ah,
I'm trying not to have hell come raining down. But I think I'm good right now. Sorry about that, sir.
okay. It's okay. It's all good. I just want to make sure everything. It sounds like I might get being electrocuted or something. But but yeah. So she goes back in time. Okay, breaking the time barrier. So you're creating a time paradox. If Captain America does not punch Hitler like he did in the 1940s, instead she does it first. So she appears, and so time travel's already been implemented within the Marvel universe to begin with. So okay, let's say Captain America is kind of witness to this, that he sees this happen because it's I don't think it's shown, but you can assume so. And in doing so, knowing that time travel exists, that this strange traveler from maybe convinces him not to put as much fight into it. Like, and it kind of takes the fighting spirit out of Captain America because you're looking at this woman who it's like it's kind of like that. I think it was what was it, Jason Aaron and or Rick Remender, the one where Red Skull's talking to Captain America. It's like, this is the America you're fighting for.
Yeah.
You know, the WalMarts and all that stuff, and you know, like basically how horrible America is.
Yeah. Yeah.
And he's not wrong.
No, he's not.
But that kind of aspect, and maybe that, like the one thing that kills Captain America's spirit is not losing Bucky. It's not being frozen in ice and realizing everybody you knew and loved has been long dead. You know, that your government can betray you. You know, you have to kill not Richard Nixon, turn into a werewolf, go nomad, you know, all that stuff.
Oh yeah, Nomad was great.
Yeah, Nomad was great. Like, that's the thing. It's like people forget, like when they were, everybody's like, oh my God, they're going to do Nomad in the movies. They haven't. He's just like, he's hanging out in Wakanda. That's it. Growing a beard. Like, Nomad was going around actually doing heroic stuff. How heroic can you be by just sitting in Wakanda? You know, one of the safest places on Earth.
No, the safest place because it has the wall.
Yeah, true. You know, like, well, did have the wall until they.
Yeah, you're right.
Let's open it up to everybody. It's like, yeah, not everybody needs that technology, but
I mean, it would have been smarter to be like, okay, we're willing to export some of our stuff, but
let's help them covertly, help people covertly, like you know, like I mean, they can protect themselves. Like you send like maybe like a doctor and one of the female warriors out to help people. You know, it doesn't matter if it's in, you know, one of the poor parts of America, whether if it's a poor part of South America, like helping the world, not just.
Absolutely.
Yeah, it's like this, you know, like that's why the whole Killmonger thing, or you know, it's like, you know, kind of
the have the technology to like just fly there.
Yeah.
For the evening, real quick, 2 hours, cure a bunch of people, go back.
Exactly. Well, that's the problem with these concepts. You know, you go in, you know, you start bringing in. Well, we got this great technology. Then why are there paralyzed people in this world? Why are there sick people in this world? Why is horrible things happening? Because if you were able to cure it all, it's like it works in a finite nature. But if you're doing ongoing stories, it doesn't work. It's like with the Barbara Gordon Batgirl thing. So you can come back from the dead, but you can't fix a broken back or a back that's been paralyzed, shot the spine that's been shot through. You can't fix that. And the nerve endings, you can't. You can bring corpses back from the dead. It's like, oh, she refuses to get in the Lazarus pit. I'd pick her ass up and I'd throw her in. You know.
It's funny because you're absolutely correct. Like they have selective medicine.
Yeah.
Sometimes selective, almost like selective services. Like well, maybe die and we'll bring you back with your legs, but we're not gonna go through the trouble just for your legs. Maybe if you die, we'll bring you back. You know what I mean? And it's funny.
Or you could have the same kind of deal of like that, you know, kind of the Batman Beyond bat suit or something that, you know, standard technology doesn't make you that much stronger, but allows you to walk or some crap like that. But it has battery life issues or something on those. Like you can figure something. I mean, there are ways to write yourself out of certain things, but lack of creativity, it's astounding in comics these days.
Yeah.
But back to the Captain America sees this very current year hero or terrorist. She's closer to a terrorist than anything. A lot of heroes, when you think about it, are terrorists. I mean, you know, Batman's a terrorist more than an actual hero.
Absolutely.
Even though like he gives money,
white-collar criminal on top of that.
Exactly. It's like and taking money from his company to invest in his military. Like
we put people in jail for that. You know.
Yeah, it would not just put him in jail, puts him in traction, breaks arms, jaws, backs. You know, like trying to tell me it's like, oh, he's never really hurt somebody. I mean, he's gone. You know, Golden Age he was outright killing people, but Captain America, he's killed people. He's got blood on his hands. You know, it's righteous reason. I mean, he's fighting a war, but seeing America show up, or America showing up punching Hitler, so the German, say punches Hitler, not kills him. Let's say take Captain America. Captain America has not gone to Germany yet to punch Hitler. He's fighting within the European theater alongside the invaders and Bucky and everything. And so you have this incident happen. Word gets out. From then on, take no chances with caped heroes. You outright kill them.
Yep.
You shoot them from range, snipers. I mean, they like some kind of Saving Private Ryan deal. You got some sniper pinning them down, and then Bucky doesn't even get a chance to get on Rocket and get turned into Winter Soldier. He just gets killed outright. Uh, but like yeah, it's like this kind of like Captain America goes from being this kind of patriotic, hey we can do it's like to Toro Torch, a Torch and Toro, the Human Torch's psychic Toro, burn them all, like basically firebomb them from the sky, like just firebombing everything. Just go from being kind of moderate about it because there's still horrific things in wartime. You got to think, you got a character like the Human Torch, the android, Jim Hammond, with fire powers. Don't you think he would be using that against German soldiers that go up to Panzer and just put it like in the port where the driver sees through, puts his hands in there and fries everybody from the inside and they popping out on fire? How horrible that would be. The smell. But he's an android. He's not human. He has emotions, but he doesn't make them human. It's like, your TV might be acted up a little bit, your phone might act up a little bit. You call that an emotion. Or your dog might be sad, or your cat, same thing. Cats barely have emotions. They're monsters, but but imagine watching Bucky get killed by a sniper because of America punching Hitler, Hitler being so, humiliated. And already, I mean, you could say in many ways, since World War One, the Germans were humiliated, and that's why World War II happened. And then the whole coffee table, screwing chickens, really disturbing stuff that comes out, like the German gonzo porn, if you want to call it, that comes out of being defeated. So imagine the leader of your country is, humiliated, and that being so by one of these costumed weirdos, and a woman nonetheless, and a woman that isn't, Aryan.
Right.
Right. Yeah, she would unintentionally, like in her little, like, hey, you bash the fash, oh, that's great, would make things worse. It's like, screw camps. He would just be going town to town, having them go town to town, building to building, killing them on sight. Anybody that doesn't fit the Aryan ideal. Oh, your hair's a little too dark. Oh, I'm sorry. Or not sorry, not sorry, It's some creepy stuff. And imagine that world. It's like these heroes, like Namor, the rest of them. I mean, at this time, Namor's already flooded New York and killed millions of people, or probably not millions. Let's say a couple 100,000. Let's say most of them swam and made it.
Right.
Look, a lot of people, a terrorist. And they're not just going to let Namor just get away with it. They're just going to kill Namor. So anytime there's a threat pop up, Captain America is going to be basically execute him, Toro, and Torch, and Spitfire, and Union Jack. They're like, Union Jack's probably going to be like, hey guys, you guys are going a little too extreme. Right. And so you're basically going to make
Union
this.
Jack was great.
Yeah, I love that design. That's a cool design. Same thing with Spitfire.
No, Union Jack's design was so cool.
Did you ever read the John Cassidy miniseries, that the Union Jack miniseries with John Cassidy?
Hold on a sec. Hey, Larry, is there any way we can take like a 2 or 3 minute intermission?
Yeah, sure thing. You just mute your mic, and I'll take any questions from the comment section.
Because what I'm gonna do is, because I'm a loser.
No, you're not. Come on now.
I'm actually gonna live feed from my car. I'm just gonna do a hotspot from my phone and plug my tablet back on. So I'm probably gonna jump off. I'm gonna try to get back on within like 2-3 minutes.
Okay, well, the link will be in your. Okay, well, the link will still be in your DM. So you go ahead and jump off, and I'll take the crowd.
I just
I'll take.
Yeah, because this isn't working too well. Because I actually want to be able to respond, and I feel that.
And not whisper.
I'm about to get really excited talking about this, and I want to be able to go full blast.
Okay, good. Well, you got the link in your DMs, and so we'll hopefully hear from you like a minute or two or a little longer. But
yeah, I'm gonna run out. I'm gonna do this from my car because that's just smarter.
I could take the stick solo. So see you in a bit. Or hear from you in a bit. Brother. All right, you got it, man. But yes, folks. With everything that's been going on lately, I've been finding out that there are certain folks that are much more it's nice to see them much more positive. We have a group that has been gathering around the Save Comics hashtag. I think a lot more people are actually being a lot more productive, and it's nice to see. It's nice to see people do this, and in doing so, hopefully we can get some stores saved. We can actually keep stores open, keep comics flowing. Because even though there's a lot of people say, "Oh, let the store die," and I was at one time, and I was actually, I'll say in that category, it's like if it dies, it dies. But in the meantime, you do really have to have, a healthy market. And welcome, Daniel. We got Mariana, Rebirth Mortal. Hey, Rodrigo and Braylon. Man, we got a pretty packed house. Matt. All right, we're doing pretty good tonight. But yeah, it's actually good to see actual positivity coming out of comics and not just in a let's jump on, let's start a little flame war, let's burn some things down, because a lot of people, it's easy to pick up the torches and pitchforks, but come on, folks. I mean, we could do a little better than that. But if you're going to do that, do it for a good reason. Sometimes fights are not worth it. You don't really need, in a way, you don't really need to jump in and start stuff when there's, there's no need for it. I guess what I want to talk about is something before Mr. Marvel comes back on. I've been looking through some old comics, and mainly there is a book, and one of two of you might know it well, Cyberforce, the old Cyberforce, the Mark Silvestri Cyberforce, which unfortunately never see reprint because the original negatives are lost, and they'd have to scan in pages, and that looks pretty much like trash, because I've seen that come out through the Checker Books publishing company or publishing group, where they would scan in the pages of the comics, so it looks like a bad photocopy and on glossy paper, so you have nothing but trash. But but yes, looking at Cyberforce, you have a book that needs a good artist. I'm looking through the first issue right now of the trade paperback, and you are looking at a book that throws you in there. It's very much akin to X-Force and X-Men, and you almost have like it's almost straight up the Kitty Pryde running down the alley from the Hellfire Club stuff that was actually in X-Men. And you got to introduce all the characters. You got Stryker. You got all. It's so 90s. Stryker is very much. It reminds me of Kano, and I'm pretty sure Kano came out before, so definitely that's an influence. But you're looking at these comics, and these are people who are not writers. The writing credit for the book actually goes to Eric Silvestri. I guess that's Mark's brother, but that's what script. So I'm pretty sure Mark Silvestri did the plots, but in doing so, they threw you into the action. They trusted you enough. This decompressed, let's take it slow, build characters. For the love of God, reading that Cyberforce book, where only thing that happens is the new version of Stryker, the rebooted Stryker, I guess Ultimate Stryker and Ultimate Velocity. Only thing that happens is you just either stand or sit and talk. There's this action sequence where a woman comes in. I guess it's supposed to be ballistic. I'm thinking it might be ballistic, but comes in with his arm and shoots and blows off Stryker's arm. That's why he gets his cybernetic implants and everything.
Hey.
You're back and you're louder than ever. Good.
Hey. Mr. Marvel here. Mr. Marvel.
All right. The real Mr. Marvel.
The real Mr. Marvel's back.
Yes. At first I was like stammering, I was like, and I started going on a rant about Cyberforce and how garbage it is. How the new Cyberforce is garbage. Oh my God, there's no excuse for it.
Oh, this is actually better because now I can smoke cigarettes.
Smoke cigarettes, talk as loud as you want, you do your thing. Good.
Jesus. Sometimes being a loser is all right, Larry. I'll tell you.
Hey, man, I know what it's like to be a loser. I've never won anything. This is how sad it is, folks. There is actually I can't find it, but if I do find it, I'll post it because I have no shame. There is a photo of me from it was in my local newspaper, and it was like back in 2001 or so. And there is Heroes Con had a quick draw contest. I came in second place by drawing the Top Cow character Magdalena, the nun who kills like vampires and monsters.
Oh, I remember.
Yes, I came in.
That was a great, sexy design, man.
But it was so like it was still like stem out of the '90s, because of the low rise and all that stuff. It was but it stood out. But there's a photo. There's actually a photo of me in an article. The local newspaper was so slow. This ain't like some handout free newspaper. This is the kind you pay money for. It was so slow. There's a photo of me like, local artist wins big, and they did it second place.
Right?
It's so sad. It's so pathetic. I'm like, I'm embarrassed because like, what character? What did you draw? Like Superman? No. Magdalena? Who's that? You'd have to explain it to some person that's never heard of the character.
and real quick, getting back at you, brother. I think Ballistic. It looks manly. That what you put up. She looked really manly. And I hate the manification of women in comics. And it's so sad. So especially now that we're talking about designs like Magdalena, when you think of like Witchblade, even Fathom. You remember Fathom, bro?
I remember Fathom, and I'm actually looking at it right now. I'm looking at my Fathom collection, the first like say 12 issues or so.
Those
My
were sexy. They were vibrant. The coloring was great. You know what I mean?
yep.
God, like just even the look on their faces. I mean, if you can draw, come hither. It was done. It was there. Um, and now they're just garbage. They're trash. When you look at women and the way women are drawn, it's trash. I
I don't
mean,
know who. I don't know who sent the article to me. It might have been. I can't remember who, but and if you are here in the chat, remind me because I'll give you a shout out for it. Thanks. Was the article about the new writers for the Witchblade comics
yeah.
and the writers? They're like, well, we're had the artist redesign the costume, so it's like she's fully armored to take away from the male gaze and all that. I'm like, oh God, Witchblade. That's all she had. That's all she really had at the end of the day. They're just taking away the titillation of it. And
Right.
like, yeah, did you ever play Mass Effect?
I did. I played them all.
Okay,
Sadly, I played all of them.
even Andromeda too. Oh no.
I tried, really tried, but I'm not gonna lie. And I think it's obvious to everybody now, and this will be no shock. I always create a female character. I always play a female character. If a video game gives me an option to make a female, I'm gonna make a female. She's gonna be beautiful, and she's gonna kill everything, and she's gonna be the greatest woman in the whole world. And I'm sure if I get into a fight with an intellectual ever, they'll tell me it's because I have mom issues. But you play a game like Mass Effect, and it was like, oh my god, every character model is horrendous. Like, oh, bleh. When you look at the real life male model that Male Rider was based on, dude, I mean, it's 100%. They got him so on point. You know what I mean? That it almost looks like you're seeing a virtual reality version of that male model. You look at the female model for Fem Rider, she was fucking gorgeous, kid. I mean, knockout. And then you look at what Sarah Ryder looking, you're like, this chick's a fucking potato. You know what I mean?
Well, they're jealous. I have a feeling they might be jealous. The fact that because they're let's say you got people that don't want they have a poor opinion of themselves. They might actually look good, but they have such a poor opinion of themselves, and they don't, or they're thinking out for other people. But what if there are people out there that don't, they're not that don't feel that sexual or that sexy, and we can't be pushing this notion of all women have to be sexy. Yes, if it's fiction, they can be. If that's a part of the character, and most of the time, nobody wants to buy some ugly potato woman, whether game or comic,
Right.
and
Um, I, I mean, it just even comes down to the whole when you think about comics would be modern day mythology. These would be the equivalent of our god stories. You know what I mean? There's no
yeah.
fat gods.
Well,
You know,
Aphrodite, Aphrodite would not look like Rosie O'Donnell. That
no,
would.
no, 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 not at all, not at all. And I mean, I think we even talked about it last time, where it's like, you know, when you look at the art someone pumps out, I'm not necessarily trying to objectify women. I want people to buy my stuff. You know what I mean? I'm not going to get commission to do a cover for someone's sexy female character if they know I'm going to fucking add another 60 pounds to her. You know? if I'm gonna suddenly cut her hair off, if I'm suddenly gonna make her nose humongous and manly.
Or make her
You know,
jaw look like Arnold Schwarzenegger's,
right,
or Brock
right.
Lesnar. You make her look like Brock Lesnar.
I tried when I drew Red Ninja Momiji, I was going for even thicker. I gotta make it thicker than a Snicker, because that's what I like to see, and that's what I'm drawing. I'm going to take the character and represent it in my art style, and I have found that people, they respond to a beautiful looking woman.
Oh, and speaking of beautiful looking women, your gingerbread rendition not only shocked me, but astounded me. And I was, and the friend of mine said, "Oh my God, that looks like J. Scott Campbell art." I said, "No, right?"
Oh, thank you guys, thank you.
Yeah, I was like,
So
because
much.
your style, it has a very much like J. Scott Campbell mixed with Joe um Joe Madureira and a little bit of
Oh,
Dan Pano Cyan a little bit
okay,
because
okay,
the reason I
okay.
say Dan Pano Cyan because even though like people back in the day I didn't really respect it as much then as I do now because his style's changed a bit since the '90s, but his stuff was very bold, almost like it would stand out, almost looks like when in a way sometimes your art looks like one of those stickers you peel out and like slap on a locker or on a laptop or
Yeah. Oh,
like
that. Oh, I love those stickers, bro. I'm not gonna lie to you. When I was younger, I used to love to try to draw that stuff before, because I mean, I've gone through many stages of my art, and
mhm.
it's funny. It's actually come full circle now. That's why I'm promoting like basically myself more as trying to get into comic creation. It's because I finally come full circle. I started drawing comic book stuff, and then that led me to other things, and then that opened me up to other things, and then I started drawing this stuff. I mean, for the longest time, I was almost exclusively a graffiti artist. I mean, I even know how to airbrush. Uh, and it's just come to the point now where it's like where I feel I would be happy as I get older would be creating comics. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
That at this point, it would be me giving back to what made me basically what I am. You know, I wasn't a trained artist. I didn't go to art school. Um, I know it's a touchy thing to say, and I'll just say it brief and never say it again. I consider myself to be, just I get it. I hold an aptitude for art, and therefore I kind of learn a little quicker, and I just pick things up as I go. I don't really get held back too much on something if I'm determined to make it happen. If I'm kind of feeling flaky and I didn't want to do it to begin with, I'll always be able to talk myself out of you don't know how to do that, bro. Just give in. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But when I'm determined, even if I have to stop, learn for how long it takes, I'll learn it. You know what I mean?
You got that
Uh,
determination right there, because that's one of my things. Is I have the exact opposite. I'm the exact opposite of you. I'm stubborn. I don't like learning, and I overthink things. So I get defeated really easily a lot of the time. But my stuff, I used to be so prolific as far as making my little mini comics and stuff, because I you could not stop me from making these things. They were like 16-page little stories. I put them out there. Boom! It's like those chick tracks, those little Jesus tracks, but with comics in them. Like some of them were subversive. There was one about a guy who killed a hooker and he goes to this family of pigs. They're pigmen, and the pigmen take the hooker's body, and that's the family meal because pigs eat. Well, there's some things where they would feed bodies to pigs. They'd eat everything except any kind of medical items, like if you had an artificial hip or something like that.
yeah.
And so this family of pigs is like, again, we just had one of your corpses. It's like, I can't help it, man. It's like I got an addiction. He's like killing hookers. It's really sadistic and twisted, but that doesn't really translate. Those kind of stories don't really translate to the standard comic format.
Yeah.
And I let too many people get in my head, and they've poisoned the well. It's like throwing a decapitated goat's head into a well, and then started drinking from it. It's like because Blair, you should do like standard comic books. I started thinking the same thing. It's like, yeah, I could start doing that. I've done a lot of these. Like, I should have just kept in my thing, but no, I had to go and break the habit. And like, try to, got out of my comfort zone, and it's like, got out of comfort zone, the door's locked behind me, and I'm freezing without a jacket.
Right.
but, I'm glad to see that you are actually pushing yourself forward. You're determining yourself. It's like, I can take joy out of seeing somebody accomplish things, and I love the work you do. I know other people do as well. You're such a positive influence within our little, it ain't a community group. It's kind of a, like, it's very, we're not really,
Yeah, I just call it like comics Twitter,
yeah,
which means I also include people that are considered adversaries. I would very much say they are also part. It's just we are at war within comics Twitter. Uh, it would be polite of us to not let it spill out into other parts of Twitter. And I would ask other parts of Twitter not to spill into comics Twitter. But that's what I call it. I don't like to put any more names. In fact, the only hashtag I really use now that I've used from the beginning is make comics great again. Because that's the point of it. You know what I
yeah.
mean? It doesn't really matter what we do to make it great. Just make them great. Make them good. Make them something people want to buy. Who
And
cares what
the
the
essential
story?
thing,
Who cares if we have to get away from the old stories that we love and we all love them and we will always love them? But perhaps the answer to the problem is then let's start making new stories. Then make stories that they can't touch because we own them.
yeah, exactly. The important thing is to make comics, to make them. It does, like, you try, and there's people say, well, you didn't spend a year on this. It's probably not going to be the best. There's people, all they want, they say they want good comics, but they say what they mean by that, they want, their Spider-Man back. They want their X-Men of their youth, the nostalgia. They're
Yeah.
chasing nostalgia like they're a damn addict.
Yes.
And there are people that do not realize that from the 80s into the 90s, until Marvel screwed everything over by buying Heroes World just so they could distribute Marvel, and they didn't know how to do it, and so they tanked Heroes World. So that's how Diamond became a monopoly. You had cold cut distribution, and they would still do some of this indie publishing. But Heroes World, Diamond, Cold Cut, and a couple of these other distributors, akin to what Diamond is now, were putting out books from Tundra and A1 and the Mirage Studios stuff back before they even got, they got big with the whole, cartoon, the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles cartoon, and a bunch of other stuff. These people, King Hell Press, which was putting out these really twisted, messed up superhero comics, but they're not really, they're like deconstruction superhero stuff, like Brat Pack and Max Immortal and the One and a bunch of these other, like, weird, they're hard to describe comics, but they're really good. And I think they're finally getting re-released, a lot of them. But there are people that were making comics then, publishing themselves, being their own bosses, putting their own content out there, not just kind of like, my dream is to draw Spider-Man. Good for you, but you understand they're going to hold that over you. That's why they suck you in. They suck you in, so you want to draw Spider-Man, and then if you try to, like, well, I want to do this, and so we can get somebody from the third world to do it cheaper and faster.
Yeah.
It may not look as great, but we can get it cheaper and faster. And
right. I don't even think they care about it looking great. They just want it pumped out. They just want to put it on the
clearly they
shelf.
don't.
They just want to say that they pumped out that book again this month and put it on the shelf. And that's what they're doing. There are good books, though. I don't want to say, even Marvel, you know what I mean, without even trying to sit down and name names. But there are good books, and you'll find good story, and you're still going to find good art throughout it. But for the most part, I think on the whole, they're just putting it on a shelf. That's what they're trying to do. At this point, it's like, the generic Band-Aid, the pharmacy brand Band-Aid, they're just putting on the shelf. You're going to buy it because you need Band-Aids. You know what I mean?
Exactly. They're just putting content out there and not actually trying to give it their all. And it's hurting stores. It's hurting. It's clogging up store shelves, because what are you going to do? Not order a Spider-Man book? You're not going to order the X-Men book?
Especially when they're renumbering things, when they're event after event, and then you need this tie to understand that tie-in, to understand, you know what I mean? It's like they're doing it on purpose to get the sales continuing. So they can drive, or the shipping, so they continue the shipping numbers. And then they're leaving it up, as we all know, then they're leaving it up to the store owner to be able to push the product. Which,
exactly.
Day in, day out, it's just harder because, God, nobody wants this crap. Nobody wants it, dude. Nobody, at least not in the format you're giving me. God, I'm Mr. I'll give something a shot. But if I gave it a shot and it's shit, damn, take it away, dude. Just, you know what I mean? Like, just stop trying, man. or if you're gonna give me propaganda, at least give me pretty looking women telling me that I'm a piece of shit, you know, and not like but you know, draw me some cuties telling me that I really need to rethink my political thoughts. I might give it more of a second thought at that point, you know, instead of this hideous chud, you know, implying that everything I've done to this point is wrong and awful, you know?
Yeah, it's like if you're gonna if you're gonna fuck me, kiss me first, kind of thing.
Exactly. You
But
can I go put on some lipstick?
exactly, it's like, well, like Braylon was saying, like this whole thing. It's like that's how Marvel lost Jim Chung, Andy Kubert, Adam Hughes, and Frank Cho. Well, a lot of the people I know, Frank Cho, like that was a thing. They after the whole the Spider Woman cover thing, which is everybody's like making a big deal out of.
Oh,
And they that was because that was Minara, but Milo Minara, but the he was very staunch supporter of that, and then the outrage cover stuff, and that didn't make anybody happy. And then the whole DC thing where Greg Rucka bounced him off the book because he was doing variant covers, which nobody was really seeing unless you're paying extra money to get the variant cover. And it's these people good artists make more money doing commissions and doing like J. Scott Campbell kind of deal, or just doing covers, which is all good and great. But it's a shame to see these good artists who at one time or could or still can do great comics interiors as well as covers, but they're just relegated to covers because that's where they make the money. They don't want to put up the editorial hassle. They can just do the cover, put it out there, they're done, and they've made not enough money for the cover from the company as well as selling the original art, selling prints, or what have you. And it's depressing to see all these good artists out there not necessarily living up to their potential, but being squandered. And considering these companies have that money, have that almost bottomless barrel of resources that they can get the best of the best on these books and make them killers, but they don't.
no,
But
no.
and it's good to see like our little group, with you, with Rodrigo, with Tim, I know I'm missing some people,
Don't
but
forget Rags. Got to throw him out there, dude. Got to throw him out there. He's doing his thing hard. You know what I mean? He's doing his thing hard. They're all doing their thing hard.
yeah, everybody's doing their thing. It's like it's motivational, but it's also like, oh shit, everybody's so like I thought I was hot shit. All these little mini comics I had back in the day. It's like, man, like it's hard. It's a hard sell.
It puts you in your fucking place, bro. I'm the first one to say that. Cause I'm sure it's happened to everybody at one point. Obviously, I missed the big shot back where I'm from. You know what I mean? Where I'm around. I mean, I'm a big shit to the people that know me. You get out there, you put yourself out there, and you start seeing what other people do, and you're like, oh shit, oh damn, maybe I'm not that great. You know what I mean? You're like, oh, I thought I was hot shit. Clearly, I'm not. You know what I mean? Oh, it's weird. It's humbling. And I've certainly gone through a period of humbling myself in the last couple months because everybody knows I can get really carried away when talking about myself.
I
And
know. I've seen glimpses of this. I know you kind of reeled it in a little bit, but you can be not the most modest person. But you know what? To have a healthy ego and not be these. Have you ever been to like I've been to comic book conventions, and you see some of these people, and you get some people that you get the occasional overeager person, like you walk by their table and they're like, "Hey, how's it going?" And it's like, I'm just walking by. I'm sorry. It's like the puppy in the window. You feel bad by walking by. It's like really happy, but I gotta keep my money, and your stuff doesn't look that interesting to me. You seem like a nice person, but I don't want to spend money on you.
Yeah,
but
and, I mean, I'm also I'm unapologetic when it comes to my art. And everyone that knows me in my life, they've heard me say it tons of times. I'm not really good at other things. I'm actually not good at all at anything but art. This is my thing, so just shut up and let me have it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I'm not tall. I'm not good looking. I sound good in a choir in the bass section, but you put me by myself and people leave. This is what I'm good at. I'm not good at cars. My car breaks. I just have to trust somebody's gonna fix it for me without bending me over. You know what I mean? So I am very boastful because it's all I got, you know? And when pushed to it, uh, I can back it up at least. You know, I'm not talking emptiness unless I'm making, uh, promises on a delivery that I know I can't do. And even then, anytime I've ever done it, I've been the first one to say, hey, I fucked up. I shouldn't have done that. And I was wrong. Uh, but for anything else, I, I can bring it. I can bring it to the table. And that gets back to everybody else in the community. They can bring it to the table too. So why aren't we bringing it to the table together? You know,
Yeah.
why
We're
aren't
like working together. It's like the thing about this. I mean, I'm all for people doing their thing, and I'm not going to try to stop somebody from doing it. But
we?
to see people like they could, kind of at the very least get the word out. It's like with Rodrigo because he's got the sale going on for Red Ninja Momiji for it's like $1.99 on Comic Central. That you can't beat that price. You can't beat it at $5. You can't beat it at $6. I'd even go up to $10 for that book, if not 15. It's a damn good book. It's well done. It's good art, good comics. But at the very least, you could spread the word. I'm not saying you have to every single time, but it can't hurt. I look at it this way: you put back. I try to do unto others as you have them do upon you. I know a lot of people ain't really religious these days. I'm not that super religious. Jesus Christ, I got my leg broke at church doing a chest exercise, and after I broke my leg and my fucking knee was swollen up because it happened right below my knee, the guys tell me get up and walk with Jesus. So these people like, oh, I lost faith. If I still could have I could take a little bit away from religious experience after all that shit. I mean, other people could too as well, but
Yeah.
that's neither here nor there. But getting the word out, helping people out, not actively trying to, because there are people that they're jealous of other people's success. I've seen people they got the kick, Tim's got the Kickstarter. It's going live next Tuesday. Then you have people that they bust their ass getting their projects done, and it's like nobody cares. It's like you'll hear a lot of people talk and everything, but then like getting the word out there, spreading it, trying to help. You don't have to be doing it 24/7, but say you got a project out there. Say you were to come out with a book, like say like a one shot or something. I don't know. Let's say 20-page one shot, full color cover. Let's say black and white interiors, tones, something like that. Whatever. I'd be promoting the shit out of that. Like pick this up.
Right.
You need to have this in your life. Like I would trust off of faith alone that it would be good and worthwhile. I'm pretty sure we're going to have some fucking scam book, or some shit like that. But there are people out there. But there are also those people that they start seeing like I got my project, fuck other people. I've got where it's like they get to the point like help me raise me up, and now you're at the top of the wall, and you got somebody reaching up like, hey, help me up, and you're like, no, and they're pulling a horse,
Right.
and
Right.
it's a damn shame to see this happen, but it happens, and you have these people that drag you down. If you associate with them, it's kind of like it is, and I hate to do guilt. It sometimes can be guilt by association, like these super negative, horrible people that all they do is bitch and bitch and bitch about their, like, oh, this is horrible, this is that, this is, oh, this is SJW, that's SJW, and I was like, you're just as bad as saying that's problematic, and it's like you people, it's like, oh, this comic's the worst SJW comic ever, oh my god, it's like, you know what? You're part of the problem. You're making these people heroes. You're making them martyrs.
Yeah.
Just like how they would make you they made you. It's a vicious cycle. And our group doesn't do that. Like you're out there and you catch yourself. I know you've had like where times you're like, I gotta take a break. See y'all soon.
Yeah. I'm getting better at not letting it get to me. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Because at the end of the day, it's like, no matter what you say about me online, you actually really don't know me. You know what I mean? So you're clearly not telling the truth. You're making assumptions. And you just got to let it go. You just got to let it go. People are going to try and get to you. You know what I mean? And I try my best to not let it get to me, but I'm like a pissed off little dude. I got like that like a really, I don't know. I'm just always in a bad mood. Like for however friendly I sound and joking and jovial, I'm usually in a bad mood, and I don't know. I'm that guy. That's my personality. Like I don't know. I'm grumpy. That's the dwarf I am, and it fits because I'm short too. I'm I'm grumpy. That's what it is. Like I'm naturally grumpy. What people see is my attempt to uh have friends, because after a while you're lonely with your grumpiness, you
Yeah,
know.
I know the feeling, man. It's like I'm a self-admitted asshole. I know what I am. I've tried
Oh,
changing my ways.
oh,
Oh my
oh,
God, man! It's like, dude, I have tried. Like, I try to make friends, and it's like I've got to the point now. I don't really make friends. I just meet new. I just meet new people. People. Oh, that's not my friend. This is a person I know or acquaintance. I can't really call people friends anymore because like I either isolate them, piss them off, they piss me off, something along those lines. It's like sometimes it's simple things. It's like, death by a thousand pinpricks. I try to be understanding and open minded, and it's like, oh, this came up, this happened, that happened, and then I was at one time, I had a guy who called. It was a friend of mine. Said, "Hey, come on up, visit me." And then I come up. We go to the comic store, go to this cool place to eat, this and that. I think, oh yeah, cool. Just kind of got a mini vacation, doing stuff in his town he don't normally do. I'm like, oh, that's kind of cool. And then like there was a movie theater, old school movie theater. They were showing Neverending Story, the original, at the movie
yeah.
theater. I was like, fuck yeah, I've never seen it in the theater. He's like, well, you have it on DVD. Why would you want to see it in the theater? And I was like, oh, thanks, Killjoy. And then and then it's like, let's go back and play it here. Hands me the controller. Play Fallout 4. I'm like, I played this. I got this at home. If I wanted to play fucking video games, well, here's a comic book to read. I'm like, I didn't drive 400 fucking miles to read a goddamn comic book or play some fucking video games.
Yeah.
It's like, that's, and, he might be watching now. I don't fucking know. Hey, if you're watching, dude, hey, sorry, tough shit. I'm kind of, this shit's been on my fucking head. It's like, and like asking me, like, hey, how's it going? Ain't heard from him in a fucking month. That ain't a friend. I got a friend I've known for almost 10 years now. I've never met him face to face. He's got full-time job, 2 kids, a wife, pets, all that shit. And he's on the far side of the fucking world. We're doing a podcast, doing it for 3 years, coming up on our 3-year anniversary. And he is, to me, that's a friend. That's somebody who keeps track of you, checks in on you if I ain't heard from you in a bit, see how you doing. Like I'm talking about like a couple days or so, that kind of shit. But like there are very few and far between like friendly people. But I know what you're saying about the whole, being grumpy because it's like life ain't fucking fair, and it's a bitter pill to swallow.
Yeah. But and then everybody right away they're like, you have to learn to let it go. And what are you talking about? I fucking love to be mad. I love being mad. That's just me. I'm usually in a bad mood. I'm usually pissed off. It's okay. That's how I am. It's just I don't know. It's how I am. It's how I've always been. But what happens is you're like, oh, but I need to not act like that to have friends. It's called being self-aware. Like I'm a piece of shit, and I
Yeah,
know it. I'm okay with it, but I'm self-aware, and I know, hey, if you want to make a connection with someone, you might want to try not being a piece of shit, and
yeah.
therefore, I put the effort into trying to be like the opposite of a piece of shit. And I keep swearing on your channel. I'm sorry, bro. I'm going all hard.
Oh fuck that. I don't care.
All right,
Piece of shit, piece of shit, piece of shit. Doesn't matter.
word.
Words are words, man. Like they might be cursed back in the day. Like you just worry about some villager coming after you, bringing you to stake for being a heretic or some shit like that. But yeah, that's the thing. It's like I've tried to change. Like I've tried change, and slowly over time I have changed who I am. But it is like it. I, like a battleship, do not turn on a dime. I'm the last of a dying breed. Battleships really don't exist no more. They have aircraft carriers now. But in doing so, trying to change, and then I've learned the hard way. It's like, am I the one being the asshole, or are they just being a prick as well? That kind of thing. It's like you kind of that reflective moment. It's like, okay, I'm giving the benefit of the doubt. They're not. I'm trying to meet them halfway. They're not. Fuck them.
Yeah.
It's one of those things. But when you're dealing with creative people, there's a lot of creative types. They're very introverted. I get that, but it's nice to see people that have so much of you. It's like where I see something, I'm like, fuck that shit, I could do better than that, and like I go and do like I fucking that bullshit secret the Secret Empire bullshit with Captain America. It's a quick little comic strip, did a little synopsis, all that shit. I've done I've done like kind of response comic strips and shit like that. So, look, I could do it better. Give me a fucking enough money, and I could do this shit. You give me that much money, and I'll have your shit taken care of. Back the truck up like they did for Rob and Jim, and when they did Heroes Are Born, I'll fucking set you straight. But it's one of those things, just to be the armchair quarterback and like, well, I could do better than that. Like, I have these fucking great ideas for because I've known these characters and I have like that kind of thing. But when doing my own stuff, and then you have people, like, you bust your ass in your own stuff and like you're proud of it, and then it pisses me off. Like you see somebody, like you create, you did this whole comic strip, or you created this character and you're really proud of it. Nobody gives a fuck. You draw some, and you say you spent time on it. You busted ass, and then you do a quick little Spider-Man sketch. Oh my god, this is the greatest thing ever! I'm like, fuck all y'all. It's just how I feel. I mean, it's kind of one of those deals.
Yeah. I no bullshit. I hold back sometimes, cause like whenever I get, whenever obviously I butt heads with people in any place, like my first instinct is to like go draw a fucked up picture of them. Because what I used to do, so I used to do in high school and grade school. I just draw a fucked up picture and pass it around class, and everybody would laugh at the person, and I won. Because I'm petty, and I'll admit that too. So I know what you mean, dude. Like that, you fucking bite back with Samad. But I don't know. I getting back to how, the community kind of sometimes acts as far as like independent work. In my opinion, it almost reminds me of that old joke. The one where the guys at sea. He's drowning. A boat come by. He's like, "Nah, God will save me." Ship comes by. "Nah, God will save me." Helicopter comes by. Same things. He dies. He goes to heaven. "God, why'd you let me die?" "Well, I sent you a boat, a ship, and a helicopter." And you said nothing. That's what these independent works are.
Yeah.
Oh, you're unhappy with the state of comics. Well, start reading this. It's pretty good. And even if not, you reading it and giving your critique lets the creator make the next issue better. When you think of some of the best comics, they kind of sucked at number one. My favorite Spawn is Spawn number 8. When I finally found Spawn number 8, I was way happier than when I found like 5 or 7 Spawn number 1s online, because I was like, the writing is Todd was just kind of feeling his way out with the art, so it was but as people got to give the feedback, it got better, and issue 2 was better, and then 3 was even better, and then 4 was even better, and it led to more things getting better, and he started working with other people. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
And
exactly.
that's how you build up a comic series. That's how you build up a company. That's how you build up an artist, a writer. You take what they got, you critique it, and you let them come back with, the next one better, and you support it. And next thing you know, you got a good series.
Actually, I think the reason you like number 8 so much is because I think it's written by Alan Moore.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's one of those, like when he's like, shit, I got a ton of money. Let's hire out some art. He got Alan Moore, then it was Neil Gaiman, then Dave Sim, then Frank Miller. So he's in a way murderer's row of creators.
It all happened because Spawn came out at the perfect time when people needed something new, and he represented a completely new archetype of superhero. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Probably one of the reasons I place him as my all-time favorite. In a way, he kind of fucked up the game. You know what I mean? Al Simmons was a much different superhero than what I was used to. I was used to the clean cut, the Boy Scout. Didn't even matter their skin color because that's irrelevant. I was thinking the Boy Scouts, the shiny teeth, hello, citizen, and they're going to come through. The most gritty thing that I had seen was Wolverine. And I mean, he can get pretty gritty, but God, there were times where Spawn was sitting dismembered in the corner, and his body was open, and ribs were exposed through glowing necroplasm flesh, and there was flies, and God, there's this big hulking monster, and it was just this holy crap. And I think right now some of these books are offering that experience of holy crap, because they are a breath of fresh air. And the fact that um, these new books, these new series, these new creations, they offer new universes. These are blank slates. There's no more confines. You don't have to follow a timeline. You don't have to respect what happened. Consistency is out because you're creating it as you go. You know?
Exactly.
And
You're doing Spawn was a book, and it showed. Like people think like they make such a big deal about this hero. This hero, guess what? They're non-white. Oh my god, the greatest thing ever. It's like no, it doesn't. Nobody cares. Just do a
no
good
one
story.
cares.
And well, the people that care are the wrong people you want to be. Like the wrong. It's like oh, they made Kick-Ass a black woman. Oh, like that. Like it's SJW. It's like oh, come on, really? You're gonna go that route? You're bad as like see, they made another white male hero. See, that's they're anti-diversity. It's the same. It's the horseshoe theory. It's like you flip it around. It's the same sides. But you're dealing with Spawn like that right there. The brutality of it, the gruesome, burnt flesh peeling away. You see muscle tissue underneath, wispy hairs. You'd smell. You'd probably smell like burnt hair and
He probably smelled disgusting.
Well, he lived in garbage.
Rat City.
Yeah, Rat City. It's like
all the vermin brought him the evil energy to fuel him. He himself was created Rat City with his presence, because he was such a dark presence on the world. You even get into the aspects of God. What a fucked up love triangle between him, Wanda, and Terry. Like you're not used to that kind of thing. In those days, I wasn't. That's not what I was exposed to as far as comic book stories. You would never experience the grittiness of, and there's nothing I can do about it because they technically didn't do anything wrong to me. Yeah. Like that's a bitter experience. You know what I mean?
The thing about that whole when they did the movie, and I was upset that they cast a white guy as Terry. I was like, what the?
Imagine today, Larry.
Yeah.
Imagine today, though. Imagine that happened today. Twitter would break. Twitter would absolutely.
Oh yeah, I was because it's like because I remember Terry being this like Terry was a cool. He was just a good dude. But it's like, Al got fucked over. It's like this whole thing. Beware what you wish for. You just might get it. It's like, oh yeah, you're gonna be the general in my armies. And, you have no soul now, but you do have necroplasm. You do have the powers of the general of Hell's armies being the Hell Spawn, the Hell Spawn.
Yeah, you're the premier.
You get to go back to see her. You get back to see see Wanda. Oh, by the way, it's 5 years later. She's already moved on and got knocked up and had a kid with your best friend. And while you're there, try to take out as many souls as possible to fill the ranks. Oh yeah, make sure you get Chapel. We need him as part of Hell's armies as well. I think that was that was a like when he killed off Chapel and everything. Which I think
even when he offed Billy Kincaid, that was a score for them.
Yeah, exactly. That's the whole thing. It's like, we got an expert. Our protagonist is a murderer who just unquestionably kills whoever. For the CIA says go kill this person, go kill him. That like that. It doesn't matter who they are, what they've done. Go kill him. And the guy he basically sold his soul away a long time ago before he went to hell. But such a. And yes, is it the most original thing ever? No, far from it. You got Faust, Love of the Damned. You got Ghost Rider. You got Venom. You got Spider-Man. You got Batman in there as well. You got you got a bunch of elements all thrown together, but they work.
Damn, did they work, man? Oh, man, did they work? Oh man, I'm all tingly. Woo, I feel like a young man again.
And that's the same thing here. Like, I'm looking at these comics. Like I got volume 1 through was it 12? Yeah, volume 1 through 12 of all the soft covers before they stopped doing it in that format. So it's like the first 50 issues, which is the cream of the crop for Spawn. Also got the Angela miniseries that Neil Gaiman and Greg Capullo did. But they killed it with that book. They absolutely killed it. It was fantastic. It was well written, well illustrated. They did not skimp. Even when McFarlane left the illustration duties, They did not mess around. You had
No.
Tony Daniel on there. You had Greg Capullo, and a lot of people, oh, Greg Capullo sucks. It's like, ain't much
What?
different than McFarlane. They can
Yeah.
kiss my ass. Honestly, they can kiss my ass. Kiss Greg Capullo's ass. Dude looks like he probably crack your head open with a damn claw hammer.
Seriously.
He don't look. He's like them like. It's weird to see other dudes. Hey, I don't mind seeing a pretty woman every now and then. It is weird to hold those gym photos that women do. It's like, oh, I'm in the gym. Like I don't care. Like the selfie stuff. I'm not a big fan of women selfies and stuff. But you see like a dude like Greg Capullo. He's like just angry in the gym.
Yeah.
This like pops up a timeline occasionally. Oh, geez, I don't know why people retweeting that stuff, but yeah, like they did not mess around, and it didn't like nobody. And not until like the past, like say, decade, nobody cared about
No.
It's like people were complaining that Michael Keaton was Mr. Mom is Batman. Oh my God, nobody said shit about Billy D is Harvey Dent. You
No.
know,
No.
Mr. Colt 45. But yeah, it's like that's the downside about all these these comics today, and that was creator owned. That was like Marvel, you're not paying us what we owe, what we deserve. You're making money off our backs, so we're going to leave. So they left. They did their thing. McFarlane's the only one to stand by his word. Eric Larson jumped ship back and forth. You never saw McFarlane go to Marvel or DC. Eric Larson worked on Wolverine, Jim Lee and Rob Liefeld, and they did the Heroes Reborn stuff. Jim Lee sold out to DC. Rob is Rob.
It's because personally, do I want to give away my creation and let somebody else dictate what I do with it, or do I want to sit here and bang out my shit?
Yeah.
And chose correctly, and it worked for him, and you could see what it did for him today, dude. You know what I mean? You go in a toy store, right? I see the $25 price tag on a Marvel toy. God, that's way more expensive than what a McFarlane toy was when I was a kid, and they were
even with inflation. Yeah, even with inflation, it's insane. And they looked like garbage. I bought it years ago. Probably about 8 years ago now. I wanted it as a kid, and I could never afford it because it was just the way it goes. It was the Metal Gear Solid Snake figure that McFarlane Toys put out with all the gear, Stinger missile launcher, night vision goggles, pistol, all that in the box.
Yeah.
And I got it, and I still haven't opened it because there's a part of me like don't want to open it. And it looks amazing, and it's a 20-year-old figure at this point. Is it
I still have a bunch of my old Spawn figures. Actually, I had to take them out. I had them all in my booth at work, but I just got tired of constantly having to dust stuff. So I eventually packed up. A few months ago, I packed them all up, brought them home. They're all stored up and whatnot. But just the quality because I used to have a shit ton of toys all over my booth, and you could see the distinct difference between the McFarlane toys that, like you said, were going on 20 years, and the stuff I bought maybe a year or two ago. Even now, I want to buy Marvel action figures, and I am certainly not above paying money for their toys. I'm not gonna buy their comics, but I like toys still. But I can't seem to justify the price they're asking for what they're giving me.
Well, exactly. You're looking. Sorry, there's a train going by. Hauling grain for the heartland, as it were. Thank you, train. Appreciate it. But when you look at the figures, you're looking at Mark McFarlane figures and the Toy Biz X-Men figures from the 90s. Those things killed it. Like the Wolverine, then the civilian jacket is like bomber jacket jeans, and he had the poppable claws. I treasured that figure. A kid tried to steal it from me on a school bus one time.
My favorite was his Weapon X figure. Actually, if I have to say,
I never got a chance to get that one.
So awesome.
I wish I had it.
Oh, so awesome, dude. Oh, like that figure had the best version of his claws. Just how they were like spread out. They were longer. They were rigid. They never bent on me. The toy was really solid. It had the cool little helmet that had the cable that attached to the belt. He looked straight out of the comic book, dude. Um, and I remember when I went to buy it, the whole ride home, I was nervous. Like, I wonder what his face looks like under the helmet. I wonder what it looks like. And finally, I took off the helmet, and it's just plain old Logan's face. Yet, you would have thought I saw God, because it's like, oh, that looks like Wolverine, dude. And you know what I mean? And now you're like, eh.
Well, the
eh.
figures they put more articulation in them, and
That's
they look horrible. It's like
like,
they look like crap GI Joe. Like like, I never liked GI Joe figures in the 80s because
no.
you know, born in '84, growing up throughout that, you'd have kids with GI Joe
Oh, I
figures,
loved them. They
but
were
I didn't.
super
I
customizable once you learned how to like
tear them apart.
out and put it back on. Like they, oh man, after a while, my GI Joes were all swapped pieces.
Well,
It
see,
was
like I get that. I never liked they were so bendy. I didn't like that. I wanted the X-Men figures like I had, and like I had a ton of female X-Men figures. I had Phoenix, Storm, Jubilee. I never had White Queen.
never had Jubilee. Never had Jubilee.
I had Psylocke.
Never had
I had
Psylocke.
Psylocke who had a she had a sword, a katana, and she had a little thing like where it would glow. It would glow purple.
Oh, that's sick.
Yeah, so it's like this kind of cool, and like Nightcrawler that had he glue as well, and I had a couple Magneto figures. I had Apocalypse, Juggernaut, just a ton. I had a ton of these figures. I had like a Cyclops that his visor glue.
Oh, I had that one. It had the little trigger thing in the back. I had both
Yep.
versions. I had like the classic no
X
hair.
Factor.
Yeah, I had the classic X Factor suit one from the first line.
Where they're really chunky. That's where I got my Juggernaut from. They're like they had like very little mobility.
Oh,
very little.
The Apocalypse one was kind of whack because it was like, I don't know. It was just like, that doesn't look like Apocalypse. He was all skinny and tall. I still had him. I don't know. I didn't have that many of the female characters. I had shit tons of like the obscure one. Like I had the Charles Xavier one.
The wheelchair, yeah, the hover chair, yeah.
It was funny. He came with a little gun, and I was like,
yes, a gun. And it would sit in you open up his little thing and send a gun in there. It's like the dude's packing heat.
Whenever I was a kid, I used to say to myself, I was like, but why would he need a gun? Where would he ever be in a place where it's like, oh no, my attacker's coming and I'm completely defenseless? It's Charles Xavier. You know what I mean? He's gonna suck the guy into the mental realm and like beat his ass in like a thought process. Like you don't need no gun. You throw that gun away. It's like Yoda being given a lightsaber. I never, as a kid, imagined Yoda with a lightsaber. Like I just assumed he just picked things up and threw it at people. Like he knew the Force. He kept telling us the Force was his ally. You know, like I almost felt like when the first time I saw Empire, it was like Yoda didn't teach him how to use a lightsaber because Yoda doesn't have a lightsaber. You know?
No,
like,
he's using the real power of the Force.
You know, yeah, like he went to Obi-Wan for melee training, and then he goes to Yoda for Magicka training. You know what I mean? And
exactly.
That's how he RP'd his character, and that's how he rolled out a sick fucking Jedi Knight by the third one, a prestige class at that point.
And that makes me think of those Jurassic Park figures because I used to take those and they were actually cheaper than I think at the Kmart they were actually cheaper than the X-Men figures, and so I took a few of them and I would take like these Betty Crocker the Oleo bowls or whatever,
yeah,
and then after the margarine was already out of it, fill them like most of the way with water, and then put the action figures in it and try to replicate Demolition Man. Like frozen in ice and then crack them, and like it was the dumbest thing ever. Like I had Shard. I remember having I never had Bishop, but I had Shard, Bishop's sister. The X-Men. Most people forget that Bishop had a sister. She had blonde hair and it was like this. She basically had like a buzz cut, like a military buzz cut, but with a ponytail, really long ponytail.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's like, I mean, a lot of these characters, a lot of these figures, I'm like, to believe it, that actually got made to, that's actually a character? That actually got made into a figure? Yeah. Everybody got made into a figure in the 90s.
In the 90s? No, dude, 90s toys were superior. Um, I think because they had like that tried and true process. Like the movies would have their toy tie-ins, and they always like kind of looked like the person, but not really. I mean, I had Last Action Hero toys. I remember the villain had like the little trigger in the back that if you hit it, he picked up the axe, and when you let it go, he swung it back down. That's cool. That's cool. Um, he doesn't need 16 points of articulation. That action alone was way more fun to play because he can now chase around the other toy swinging his axe. Um, I don't have to pretend this. All the Alien movies always came with like a jacked version of the actor. Um, there was like 6 different versions of the xenomorph that weren't in the movie. That you're like, why the fuck would they evolve like that? You
The
know?
bull xenomorph, yeah, like the bull. There's one with horns and stuff. Really dumb shit. It's like
But it's sold. But it's sold. Um, why
Arctic Batman.
they
Oh
only
God, yeah, I remember that stuff. Yeah,
but
like,
the
oh,
key to the '90s toy movie tie-ins was they pulled the plug after the movie cut out of the like they only made so many, basically stocking the shelf for when the movie would be in theater, and it would only kind of dwindle around for a little bit as it ended up becoming a clearance item, several months after it's out of theater. Now, you look at something like Star Wars toy line, and they're just trying to flood it constantly, always. That's not how Lucas did it. He put out a movie, he put out toys, he walked away. He put out a movie, he put out some toys, he walked away. They're making a movie, they're tying in a makeup line, a clothing line, 6 different toys. They have 6 different
fish
Millennium
sticks.
Falcon. They have, you know what I mean?
They have
And it's
fish sticks as well. The marketing is insane. It's
it's
Spaceballs.
gross. It's gross. So you oversaturate. So next thing you know, no one wants to play with it, especially if you make bonehead moves like dissolve LucasArts and give the video game license to EA. One of the greatest aspects of Star Wars fandom was the super sick video games we had. Dude, name a bad Star Wars game.
Oh man. Well, outside, before EA got their hands on it,
Yeah,
it's
outside of EA, it's
yeah.
really hard
Um,
because even the pod racing game for N64, it was awesome. It
yeah.
was
I can't.
awesome.
I'd have to
That
go back to that. It's like a 3D chess. And that's like '91, and that was barely. It was like a license kind of thing. That was
yeah,
before LucasArts was a deal, like the games. But yeah, it's like where you had like each side had the dark side, had the light side, the white pieces, the black pieces, and you had the like the Jedi and then the
really?
Sith, and yeah, and the thing about it is it was a computer animated, and so they figured the
Now
things
I'm mad
moved.
I never played it.
Yeah, like when you have a pawn take another pawn, so like it's Jawa takes a R2D2 or something. It's like they're pawns, and then
That
the queen is, of course, Leia, and then Vader. Vader's the queen for the Sith side,
I
which
mean,
is
power wise, like piece wise, that actually makes a lot of sense. Aesthetics, haha, he's a girl. Oh, I love it. I love it. I
oh,
love it.
Rodrigo brings up a good point. Star Wars Masters of Terras Kasai, the fighting game. Oh, I forgot about that one.
Oh
It's
yeah.
basically it's us Tekken, but with Star Wars, and it was
Yeah.
trash. That was bad. That was
Yeah.
bad.
All right. All right. You got that. You
But
got
the
that.
thing about this, but
You
you're right.
got
But like more often than not, look at the Battlefront games. Battlefront 1 and 2. Battlefront 2,
that. Oh,
where you die, you get thrown
Battlefront.
back in.
Oh,
You screaming across the battlefield. It's Darth Maul, and he's like chopping people up.
oh,
So
oh,
good,
such a
such a
good game,
good
dude.
time.
Such a good game. Um, yeah, such a good game. Such a good game. Oh man, I
But
can't even.
but honestly, you look at what's going on now. I mean, look at there was footage from years back, and this is back at about 2012 when this came out, or a little after 2012. There was pre-alpha footage, now so it wasn't finished. There was going to be a first-person Avengers game where you get to play as Hulk, Iron Man, Thor, and Captain America, and like it's first person, so you got Hulk's fist, and like you just smash. It's kind of like in like Left 4 Dead. It reminded me of like Left 4 Dead a little bit, But like Iron Man had the blasters, he could fly and everything, and Captain America had the shield. He put the shield up, and it kind of goes somewhat like in, if I remember correctly, it's like you kind of see through the shield, even though it's like it's just game mechanic wise, so you could see and then throw it and bounce, all over the place, pick it back up. Same thing with, it was pretty cool. But it's like you had it was supposed to be like a first person kind of platformer action game. That never happened, and you haven't seen like what? When was the last time you saw like one of these games? I mean, that Marvel Capcom Infinite or whatever, the one where he had like 5 characters each.
Yeah.
It's like nobody wants the X-Men anymore. That's why we don't have them here. It's like, no, you don't have them
No,
because you're being butthurt over Fox. This before the whole deal where they bought Fox, but
yeah. In that they have no more. They have no vision of stuff. One of my favorite Star Wars games on the original Xbox, Jedi Knight Academy. That game was great. Did you ever play it?
unfortunately, no, I never did. I've heard good things about it,
It
but
was phenomenal. You played as a brand new. I mean, I want to say you were a young adult, but you were technically a Padawan in Luke Skywalker's new Jedi Order. And you created your character, and you basically played through the story, and you picked your powers from either dark side powers or light side powers. Um, the fighting mechanic was pretty sick, and you could pick between like dual sided saber, 2 sabers, or just one, or like a short blade. It was a really good game, and like it was one of those like pick your outcomes. And by the end, you faced off against Marka Ragnos, or at least like his spirit and whatnot. And I guess you could pick between fallen to classic Star Wars game style, pick dark side or light side and whatnot.
hmm.
But you don't have those anymore. Wouldn't that be a sick? Wouldn't I mean if you took something like Old Republic, brought it back to a console, right, and never make the mistake of taking a beloved game and making the sequel a subscription game online, because that's what I mean, you lose half of your half of your fan base.
Exactly. You're limiting your audience, and it's already your audience can be limited to begin with, and you're limiting them even more.
Exactly.
It's. I did think of another bad Star Wars game.
What was that?
Star Wars Connect.
Ooh.
Han Solo. I'm Han Solo.
I don't
Oh,
know.
God.
I don't know. A bottle of tequila made that game pretty fun. Bottle of tequila and a couple of good-looking young ladies that wanted to share your company. That made that game very fun.
When you have to introduce
No,
liquor and tang into it, yeah, that's
he said tang, dude. That's what's up. He said tang.
Oh my
I
God.
love it. A little liquor and tang. No, you're right. No, okay.
But it's like, that's the thing. It's like, well, it ain't so bad if you drink a bit. It's like, or if you're a little hot. It's like anything. I'm not straight edge.
With some girls, it's pretty good. Yeah, you're right.
Yeah, it's like it makes me feel like I am a total square. You call yourself a loser, I'm a square. If you're a loser, I'm a square, because hey, losers an L's 90 degrees, 90 degrees parts of square. There you go. That's what I am.
Yeah, there you go.
But I'm 4 L's. Hey, and there you go, Larry the loser, Larry the loser, Larry the loser. But
I'm a lovable loser. I'm that loser you.
I'm a hateable loser.
For,
I have people that hate me, dude. I'm good at destroying things and making people hate me, and not intentionally. It's like I got to the point now. It's like I stopped fighting it. It's like, all right, you hate me. All right, good luck with you. Like, well, fuck you too. But no, it's like, but you get, like when it boils down to these good games. I mean, EA. You have the only people they haven't really messed with that much is Dice, and that's very tenuous at best. And Dice, they clearly cannot make a good Star Wars game. I know. I think they said I've heard people say, "Oh, Battlefront 2 ain't that bad." I'm like, ain't that bad? It's like, how could if as long as it's better than Battlefront 1, which I played, which I got for like $5. It was on sale on like a Xbox One like spring sale or fall sale or something. It was like $5, and I was like, still, that's $5 too much. They should pay me to play it. It was just that messy, but. With these games, with Star Wars, with the comics, with the way Marvel's doing, I mean, I used to enjoy, I still do enjoy going to the comic store, but I understand these stores are hurting. And my dream is to see a comic store where a majority of the books on the shelves are creator owned. But that's still not the case. I mean, the biggest books are, you got White Batman, White Knight, you got Metal, you got Doomsday Clock, you got this stuff. But at the end of the day, these are all corporate comics. Corporate comics can rule the day. But how great would it be to go into a comic store and see, like, you know, the new comic by Mistah Mahvel? You
Hey,
know,
someone pull.
yeah, one pull. There you go. It's like that right there. Like
Well, by the way, funny thing about Juan Pool, I don't want to get too much into him because I want to do a video about him. Uh, I believe Juan Pool is protected under parody laws. So as long as I full heartedly say, yeah, I'm parroting Gwenpool, I could actually publish him, I believe. I'd have to look more into it. But as long as I blatantly say, yeah, Marvel owns Gwenpool, and this is my parody of it, I think I can publish it.
well,
I
as long,
think
as long as it's a
fun
blatant
project.
parody, I don't even think you have to tell them. You just can be a blatant parody, but just give you a heads up. It's like the
Me right now, though,
Disney.
I kind of want to
Yeah,
do a fun thing
yeah.
to learn. Juan is more my pet project to teach myself the skills that I don't know because I want to get back to um, producing bigger stuff for people that are waiting for me to get my ass in gear and learn the things that I need to fulfill commitments that I have with them. And that's pretty much what Juan Pool is. But I'm gonna be able to have so much fun and hopefully promote myself really good with him because God, I you have to be a miserable piece of shit to not like Juan Pool. He is my opposite. You know
That's
what I mean?
bold words. That's bold words right there.
It's true because he's nothing but lovable. Like he's a big fat guy in a suit. Like if anything, he should make you happy just visually. Because he should put a smile on your face. You see Juan Pool, and instantly, it's not so serious anymore. You know what I mean? You
And
relax. There's this big Mexican dude walking around using some old classic Spaniard dueling pistols, and he's wearing cowboy boots. Let's have some fun. You know what I mean? Let's have some fun. And I've hit pretty much as many diversity check marks as I can on one character.
well, I
So
have
no one can get mad because if anything, I'll just pull out his resume and remind them, I think my character is a little more diverse than your character. Uh, so there.
I
Um,
have a suggestion for you, just as a backup, where you don't have to change anything, but and to keep yourself out of any kind of. It's like It's nice to have a backup or reserve, considering the character, except in maybe concept. Even concept is not really a. They can't say, well, you're just you're stealing our intellectual property or any crap like that. But as a backup name, call him Captain Chimichanga.
ooh.
Since the Deadpool reference with chimichangas, and then Captain, the whole Captain Deadpool thing, Captain Chimichanga. There you
No,
go.
definitely.
That right
But
there,
honestly,
that's 11:21 p.m. on March 28th, 2018. I, Larry King of good sound mind and body, uh, hereby declare myself no longer. That concept is now no longer my property, and now it's Mr. Marvel's.
let's go.
So,
Let's go. Oh,
but
thank you.
you're welcome. You're welcome. If you use it, it's like it's there. But with but that's the thing about these. Like I people like I've noticed. There's a guy I know who is who wants to do a project, and the project is he wants to kickstart it too, which is okay, fine. That's hey, I used to be against Kickstarter until I'm like, okay, certain people should not use Kickstarter. Some people, they need it, and there's certain projects. It's like you are a like if big name creators using Kickstarter feels weird. Ones that have like multiple monthly books and stuff like that. It's like, really? It just feels it feels weird. But I know Alterna does it, so I shouldn't complain too much. But it's just okay. But uh, his idea, he calling it parody. It's not parody because it's the character in his copyrighted look, except he's being killed over and over again for like 100 pages. That's it. That's multiple deaths of one character. That's it. That's the premise of the book.
Yeah.
That's it. There's nothing else. And I'm like, you're going to get sued because it's a character that's owned by Nintendo, and
Yeah.
Nintendo is very litigious.
I believe it's when that's not considered a parody.
No, it's not. And
You
like you can't even
like
call that's not a that's not parody. That is
no,
just
that's continuation of character,
yeah.
and you will get sued.
That's like a lot. That's like somebody reprinting last pages from comics. Like, oh, it's
Yeah,
Spider-Man getting squished,
what?
Spider-Man getting this. No, it's you're still doing Spider-Man.
Yeah, what
And
I'm
I tried telling him
absolutely
this. He doesn't want to
yeah,
hear it.
what I'm absolutely not gonna be doing with One Pool is blatantly putting any kind of actual published character. Whenever I want to put a character that's out there, just know I'm going to parody it. Everyone knows who Badger Bitch is. You know what I mean? It's pretty obvious who Badger Bitch is. Um, and that's what parody is. Because I'm not specifically saying, oh well, now Wampool is gonna fight Squirrel Girl. No, he's gonna fight Badger Bitch. You know exactly who he's fighting, but you know what I mean. It's transformed to something different, and I wouldn't even be using any of their storylines or basing it off of any of their exist. You know what I mean? The story itself is all original. Um, and that I will say is one of those things I'm not naturally gifted at. I am not a writer. Uh, I can come up with a bunch of good ideas, and like I've just kind of been trying to uh, like patch them together into something rough that I could at least um, attempt to try and make into an actual script, because that's not what I'm good at, and I won't be trying to write my own stuff uh, ever
Well, I got a
again.
suggestion for you. You don't even have to do a script. Just do it thumbnails, like visually plot it out. That's a lot of people. The idea is like, okay, if I write a script, I have something to work from. It's like problem is like you can have a script and then while you're working on the pencils, like to adapt the script. It's like I can figure, and so you're basically discarding. You worked your ass off to write this out, but since you're your own boss, you don't have to. Like you
Yeah.
don't. Yeah. So my suggestion
So like
is
story.
it's kind of like storyboarding it. It's basically like doing like a bunch of
Hmm.
thumbnails for the pages, and at the very least, you can do panels. Focus on panels like that panel, that panel, that panel. Like if you have a panel pop in your head, like for me, this one makes it hard. I could not be a professional comic book artist because I could not. First off, the deadlines, working with certain people, having to eat shit and like it. Because that's a lot of like these people are, well, that's just a part of the business. Fuck that shit. That shouldn't have to be a part of the business.
Yeah.
Like you work in corporate comics. Fuck that. So I wouldn't. But to like say you have this cool panel, like say Wanpool, or Captain Chimichanga or whatever his name might be. Um, uh, um, you can think of anything. I mean, you think about it is like the design wise, you're pretty much good to go. Like name, you could always you could find something. I mean, something funny that fits, and if you have to change it, you always there's backups.
Yeah.
But like you have this cool scene, like Wanpool actually in a pool, and he's doing like a kind of a Jaws kind of thing. But it's like he's gonna weight himself down because he's so fluffy, and he's the Gabriel Iglesias of the
Yeah.
superhero world.
Fluffy. Fluffy.
And Marania, she's the one that kind of brought that up, so I'm stealing that from you. Sorry. But it's the to like kind of like weight himself down to the shallow end of the pool. But
Another thing I love about Wampool too is and I hope it catches on, and I hope people wanna see me do this. I have a lot of fun using him to parody people's characters that I like. You know what I mean? So actually, pretty soon you're gonna see. Like, I really wanted to do it for the Red Ninja Momiji, but it was more on, oh wow, I actually have like a consistent 3 hours to make a video right now. I'm going with what I have, and I made it. You know what I mean? But I wanted it to go into a bonus round where I then drew Red Ninja Wampool. And I want to start Wampooling everyone's character. And it would be even cool if, people saw it as a sign of like, like respect. Like I clearly respect and like what you do so much that, I wanted to Wampool it,
yeah.
So don't be surprised if you see a ginger pool or, a one red. You know what I mean? Don't
Yeah.
time,
Well, at
especially
that point, you can almost say it's yeah, I'm gonna say it's one of Rags' creations. There you go. but but that's the thing. What's so funny about these, like creating these comic characters and stuff. Like I'm good at creating some of these concepts and then like implementing them because once I start working on long form stories, I get bored really quickly. And the main reason is I've been so burned by long form comics. So I like doing short stories. And like I've got this thing I'm working on now. I've been like I try to talk about my stuff. And like somebody asks me, "Hey, what you working on?" I'm like, "Nothing. I'm working on nothing." I don't like talking about it because it's like you talk about it, you take the magic from it.
Yeah.
But exclusive here, folks. Oh, ah,
You
because
know, this is all really surface things, and
yeah,
the story itself and how it's going to go down, that I'm actually keeping completely to myself. Um, even when I start to show off some of the earlier pages and panels, I'm not going to be putting any kind of dialogue. I want people to read that original story. I actually think they're going to like it a lot. Because I'm going to try and, bring back, like that classic style
yeah,
where, it's a good comic. You know what I mean? I just want to give
good and fun, and that's the main thing.
yeah.
That fun, and it's like you seem like a very fun loving guy. I've never met you in person, and
Oh, I'm a pass guy. I'm a patty kid.
like you're a Duff Man. Oh yeah,
Oh,
like
yeah.
the party never stops.
Oh yeah, Duff Man. Yes, I am. I'm Duff Man.
But with a lot of comics today, it's like I I understand a lot of people they want to be serious. It's like it's my time to show what I can really do. It's like a lot of my stuff has humor in it. It's unintentionally has humor. It's like just what I do. And when I get dark, it gets too depressing. When I
Yeah,
do like any kind of serious stuff, it's like if I was a reader, I would not want to pick up a comic and be like. There's some people that want to be depressed. Like they're some people are on certain medications that they it kind of dulls them to reality. So they want to be either one extreme or another. I like entertaining stuff. I necessarily don't seek out comedic comics, but this kind of unintentional, it's kind of humorous environment stuff. Not like super jokey, but like kind of like quirky at the very least. It's kind of like The Office in a way, but without being so forced.
yeah,
I like that stuff, and that's apparently what I do. It's not intentional; it just happens that way. Because when I've written for other people, that part of me seems like it's gone. Like there's some weird stuff still in there. It's like still clearly me. Like I wrote two scripts for a guy, and he refused. Like we worked on like six other projects together. The thing was supposed to be printed 3 years ago. He's been dragging his feet, and hopefully we get. I say he's dragging his feet. I'm getting to the point now. I'm getting just frustrated because I don't even have the access to the original pages. I thumbnailed some of the stories, not all of them. It was a team effort. My concepts and stuff like that. Okay, fine, whatever. But I did two scripts, and apparently he could draw a dude in an outhouse getting his genitals ripped off by a zombie hiding in the toilet, but he
oh,
can't draw a cop punching a punk rocker female in the gut. He can't draw that, but he can draw a guy's genitals getting ripped off. I mean, priorities, dude. But whatever. It's like it offended his sensibilities, and it was like to me. It's like first off, it's neither a real, but you're choosing the one over the other. That's just odd. But yeah, he rejected
yeah,
two scripts of mine. I was like, well, that's disappointing. But yeah, you're dealing with like you're dealing with a kind of system that you put in place with yourself. It's like, okay, do I really want to do this? And I think you are committed to like, yes, I want to do this. I want to tell the story of Wanpool. People need to know the story of Wanpool. And what is the truth though? I mean, it's like you are. It's like you're singing the gospel of Wanpool.
Well, the thing is, it's because, like, yeah, like I'm a funny dude. I like to joke. I love to laugh. Even though I'm grumpy, I love to laugh. You know what I mean? That doesn't take away from my precious bad mood. I love to laugh. I'm always telling jokes. That's my thing. That's my shtick. I love to laugh. So that's what I want to produce. Funny stuff. Plus, it's like I would do dark, but mine's like depressing dark. Like even last night on the on the stream, we started talking about books. I don't know. The subject got to if I was given a Spawn book, and I instantly said I don't want to write about Al Simmons. I want my own Spawn. I want a female Spawn, and she was a prostitute that overdosed. Bam. You know what I mean? And I'm gonna take it from there. And they were like, you should have her already burned out. Nope. She's gonna deteriorate as a comic. Much like you saw I did with my Avatar.
Yep.
I'm gonna tell a dark, depressing story about mistakes that were made in life. Like my telling of a Spawn story would have very little to do with a Hell Spawn bringing up an army of evil, and more of the consequences of poor choices. You know what I mean? And living to see the consequences beyond the grave. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like I want to write a story about a woman that's tormented, hiding in the shadows at a playground watching her kid, and she can't go there. And she knows she fucked up so bad, she's not even alive to be able to fight for this kid. You know what I mean?
Yeah. And see, that's the problem right there. Like that right there. There are people that would look at that. It's like, I don't know. It's like that right there. But the idea of actions having consequences, using the idea that the necroplasm will run out if you use it too much while you're on Earth. If you're in hell, that's one thing. If you're in an ethereal plane, it doesn't get burned up, but it's not natural to this plane of existence, so it does
Right.
burn up. You do use it up, and I know they abandoned that, in the comics, but which is quite unfortunate. But that idea, like, I honestly think you could turn that idea into your own comic character. It's unique enough, this idea, because she's not going to be the general of Hell's armies. She's not going to be, but this kind of like, because at the end of the day, Spawn is very much like the Crow, and that right there, this idea of somebody coming back, maybe she even tries to kill herself while she has the coming back from hell, realizing that this is not what she asked for.
All right, Larry.
But maybe.
Huh? Let's make this.
Yeah, well, I mean, at the very least, I could be a producer credit at the very least, or like like kind of associate kind of thing, and just some back in the shadows, barely doing anything, just like, go man, go.
Dude, I've considered the notion of, I believe I would be stronger as part of a production team than what I am on my own.
Well, I know what you mean, man, because there's like a lot of people. I know a lot of people that it's as far as like kind of what Top Cow, what Image what was at one time. How, like, even though Extreme is a total mess, but they had the guys at Extreme. Had Liefeld, Chap Yep, Stephen Platt, and a bunch of these other guys. Like you had Jim Lee, you had the guys at the guys at Wildstorm. You had Jim Lee, you had what was his name, Willis Portacio, Travis Charest, what's his name, Brett Booth, a bunch of these other guys. Like, I mean, you had people working together, and not necessarily on the same projects, but similar. Like they would help out here and there. And I think if we, and the only downside is, like certain people, it's like you start working closely together, and you kind of realize there's certain things start coming out, like certain differences, and they kind of conflict. But if be adult enough to understand that's going to happen, to understand, like try to like avoid it when it, like not necessarily avoid it, but tackle it, get it over with, and then keep going, so the product doesn't suffer, and I think that could actually work. Like, I mean, I could see a mini series, like the idea of like Alternative Shown, the idea of these mini series and stuff where you're doing, these books where, like you're not messing around, you're not pulling this, oh, it's an ongoing story. It's like, yeah, like you could do like say a 2, 3, 4, like I'd say about 3 or 4 issue, like, whatever you want to call her, this female, basically equivalent to a Hellspawn, a miniseries. This idea of, you fucked up in life, you died, you went to hell, you made a deal, you came back, and you came back with something else. And then maybe she finds out, maybe like around issue 2 or 3, that she crawled out of hell. She fought to get back to Earth. And getting back here, it's like she can't go back to hell because they'll rip her to pieces for escaping, basically like stealing her powers.
Yeah.
And then she can't stay here because there's nobody for her. Her kid, she will go. hey, don't you, like the kid that she was not really there for when she was alive, and she's all fucked up, and she can't really, hide her, she can't really. It's kind of like a Dark Man a little bit too. It's got that kind of thing going on, but which is not. That's a great fucking movie. Take the
Great,
fucking elephant.
great,
Uh,
great.
Liam Neeson's.
That I hope never gets touched. I hope they
I
never.
the sequels were not that bad, but that sequels stand by themselves, whatever. But the movie should never be touched again. Which well, probably will be because how people are. They can't leave well enough alone.
No,
But
I'm just hoping that if they're gonna do it, at least they do it while Liam Neeson is still alive, so he can reprise it.
kind of like a sequel slash reboot kind of
Oh
thing.
God, that would actually be pretty. Oh damn! You know what? No, no, Troy, it would not be pretty cool, and they better not do it. But if they did, I guess I would be giddy until I was disappointed with the movie, like I know I would be. You know,
Yeah,
he's giddy for the promo.
yeah. I mean, it would be nice to see. I would be kind of interested. But I like train wrecks as well, so I can't really help it.
I don't know. I feel like it's just gonna be something where by the end of it, Darkman admits that it's kind of all his fault for being a cis white male, and I think right in the beginning, right before he jumps to action, his daughter actually underwent the same process, but she's not scarred. Played by Daisy Ridley.
Oh God, so she
Yeah,
just cry all
and
the time. She
just
can't help
you know
herself from crying.
she would just push her dad out of the way when and save him in every scene. But the the twist is he just met her at the start of the movie, so it's like, oh, look at how good she is. You know what I mean? That would be my Dark Man. That's what I would expect to see
Uh,
coming out of Hollywood today. Uh,
we're getting some nice compliments. Fralins, you guys bouncing these ideas around is better than what's coming from a lot of pros. And then Daniel Velez, Arnold Vosloo is probably available. He played Darkman in the sequels, in the Darkman
yeah.
sequels. So he played the Mummy in the Mummy. I like the guy. I like Arnold Vosloo. He's not like he's one of these actors that's like really well known, but yeah, it's just kind of funny to see that happen. But with these, like I said, with with Wanpool, this female Spawn idea, the lady Spawn. I really hope you take it at the very least. I I'm this is what I'm torn over. One shot stories, anthology style stories, these kind of things, they attract me the most. Miniseries, of course, I like the idea, but committing to 40, 60, 80, 100 pages of it, one story, just one, with one character or one group of characters, one city, maybe a group of cities, like one concept. At the end of the day, it's one concept. That bores the shit out of me. I'm good at coming up with these concepts and then focusing on one, and that's it, just one. No matter you can add this character and his interest, but at the end of the day, it's one fucking concept. I can't one of the things I worked at.
I'm just laughing. No, I'm.
Oh, okay, I thought you were gonna jump in on me,
No,
some balls
I'm
or something.
I'm basically like, yo, Brandon, you got that. No, you got it. You're right.
Well, what's funny is I've done these comics. I said I've already done in the past. There's a guy named one of my little creations, my OC. Please don't steal. But Flapjack, this dude, he was his mother died in childbirth. He grew up in a group home. The guy was like just bad luck. His name was Philip Jack, nicknamed Flapjack. He's got these four massive, it looks like pancakes for a head. Eyes are bulging out. Sometimes his tongue hangs out and he drools. And the guy's a weirdo. He looks weird, and people treat him weird. And some other people would eat these weird heads, and it's all explained it's a curse or some shit like that. So he ends up, getting into crime and doing some stupid shit, and gets out of it. Finds out that this sleazy drug addict woman, this heroin junkie, he slept with one time and knocked her up, and so he's got a daughter, and it's like, but the daughter's not cursed. So but it's like she doesn't have a weird head. She's just a girl, little girl, and so he's like, I got to raise my kid and then the woman that's the mother of his child ODs, so he's got to raise his kid. He gets out of jail, got to raise his kid by himself. So it's kind of this, kind of lone wolf and cub, but not really kind of thing.
Yeah.
And so it's got this concept, and that doesn't fit in the superhero category. Doesn't fit in the indie, whatever my life story bullshit. It's somewhere in the middle. It's this guy. He's like the kind of situation where if he's fighting someone, he's got a knife in his hand, kind of like Beat It style. Somebody says, "Flapjack, watch out!" He turns around. He's like, "What? What are you talking about?" And the guy he's supposed to be fighting runs and then gets stabbed on the knife, like basically impales himself on Flapjack's knife. He's like, "Oh man, Flapjack, you killed him!" No, he ran into the knife. I didn't do, that kind of thing.
Yeah,
That's
and
the kind of humor I go towards. But
now here's the funny thing that you'll see. Now what happens is now the industry takes that, looks at that, and says, "All right, but now Flapjack needs to be edgy and kind of sarcastic."
yeah,
Now, that actually, how about we're gonna now make this character this type of person? And next thing you know, you got these bland stories that are pretty much cookie cutter. Edgy, awkward person, uncomfortable in the world around them, has to figure out and educate everybody on why they're no good, and save the day and be validated by every single person in the book by the end. You know what I mean? And
yeah.
that's not exactly what I define feel good. Uh, and no matter what it is, they seem to almost be applying it to everything. So you can't even let creative stories shine. I'm sure you and me we could bounce hundreds of ideas right now, um, and they'd all fall flat as soon as the big industries would take them, and that's getting way back to the original chiming of independent art and pushing these independent creators is the way to go, because they're the only ones that are going to have that real freedom
Yeah.
uh, to tell their story. And we need that more again. What made old comics, old movies, old games doesn't matter. What made them good was it was people telling their story the way they said so.
Or
You know,
uninterrupted, unhindered, and unfiltered, and that's the
exactly.
biggest thing. That the idea of being unfiltered, telling your story and getting it out there. And it happened with these creative, these corporate comics, and it's that kind of creative method of getting them out there. But now that idea is gone. But
Yeah,
thankfully, with
totally gone.
Image, self-publishing, and other stuff, you can do it.
They're right now, like the huge industry things can be compared more to pamphlets, informational pamphlets,
Yeah.
with bright colors and pictures, for further infantiling young adults, and keeping them in the perpetual state of childhood. Uh, from my opinion, at least, when I read these things, or should I say, when I see people review them, because I'm not even buying this stuff. You couldn't get me to buy this stuff. Uh, I Going into the comic store I go to, it's kind of sad sometimes because I always go in there already defeated. Like I know I'm just gonna walk out with one or two books, and I know which ones I'm gonna get. You know what I mean? I know
Yeah.
exactly which ones I'm gonna go over, and I'm gonna pick up, and I'm gonna go, and I'm gonna get two plastic covers to go with them, uh, and that's it. You know what I mean? And I already know that I'm probably gonna read these, have my little geek out where I'm like, oh, that was so good. Oh my God, dude. And then I'm probably going to put them in plastic and put them in a box. You know what I mean? And like, that's depressing. That's depressing.
Well,
When
and
when that's your trip to the comic shop, when your trip to the comic shop is, I know I'm going to look around, and I do occasionally pick up things to try them. Um, and it's like nothing will stick. If that makes sense. Like, I
you're not the
go
only
to
one.
the
I
get
have
things,
the same thing
and
happen,
it's
man.
not
The
that.
idea of picking up a book and then like, oh my god, I got to continue picking this up because this is so good. It hasn't happened in years. And but if I see somebody putting out a comic, like say you or anybody else, like when I'm much more forgiving and much more open minded to somebody who's like, hey, I'm a writer artist. This is my comic I've been working on. Here you go. And they put it out there. And no, you can't, Braylon. You're addicted to Nathan Never. Admit it. We need to do an intervention stream. You're addicted. You're a filthy Nathan Never addict. French comics that rot your brain. but but yeah, it's like, I mean, that's the thing. It's like, much more interested. I'm much more interested. I only picked up new comics today. I picked up a volume 1 of Bloodshot by Valiant, the Dwayne Swierinski whatever book, but I got the rest of my Miracle Man hardcovers. They were on sale, and I picked them up. And I'm more interested in a book that came out 30 years ago than new stuff that's on the shelves now.
Right.
And that right there, that's sad. That's really fucking sad. But to see people creating comics, and this is some old shit. I'm gonna share this real quick. This is from let's see, share screen. Okay, and share. This right here is from my little World War BC comic, and this is as close as sarcastic gets. Satan 44 was going to stab Earthman Prime in the back, so I drew down on Satan. Did you? No one believes him. No one believes them. It's like, I mean, how many comics do you see where you have Cthulhu battle a space god who eats things? This is granted. This is like 6 years ago. I've become better. I've done better. But it's like these cavemen riding dinosaurs and weird stuff like that. But it's like the fun, stupid comics. And I was doing this before anybody was like, "Oh, Larry, you should be." And they're bad. These are bad. I'm embarrassed by this. I'm gonna stop sharing. But
No, man, it's good, and but you gotta put them out. I mean, dude, you know what? Since you shared one, I'm gonna go ahead and share one. This is my idea, though. This is my idea. This is my idea.
Okay. Please don't steal. OC, please don't steal.
I'm watching. And this is one of those dark, bizarre ones, because this is why I shouldn't be doing dark, bizarre. I had a story where the protagonist was a young lady, early 20s, that was living amongst people, but she was in fact a runaway mutant clown from like the deep in the mountains where no one's been in generations. And basically what happened was like one of those old-timey circuses broke down, and they were never able to leave, and they just kind of stayed there, and they started inbreeding. And next thing you know, there was like a revolt, and like the clowns took over. And then like for the next however many generations, it was just like these savage cannibal clowns in the mountains. And like you know what I mean? She looked more human than the rest. And this is where it gets dark. And I was mad because then that movie, The Hills Have Eyes, come out and like basically had almost the same idea, but it was like they kidnap people for breeding. And don't get me, it wasn't just a bunch of male clowns violating regular women. It was also like these female clowns. It was actually worse for the men because they were kept alive, because you can keep, getting inseminated from a man.
Yeah.
It was get a woman, impregnate her, kill her. But for a man, he had to stay there until he died of like starvation or whatever.
Probably cut his legs off to keep him from running.
Yeah, basically he was just tied up and like blindfolded, and the female clown would come around, give him a good quick handy J to get it, to get the natural biology working, and then do her thing so that he couldn't contest. It was a dark story, dude.
It sounds like it, man.
Oh, dude, it was one of those fuck stories, and basically it followed a girl from that environment that just was born looking far more human than the rest of them. Like, she had certain things on her that you could recognize once you knew what you were looking for, but I mean, it didn't look anything more than like hot water fell at her as a kid, and it looked like, like some of them just looked like some burns, and she'd play, and it was just this messed up story where like she goes through the processes to gain what she kept calling her humanity, where she stopped calling herself a monster and actually had her own child. And the story starts with the clowns breaking in and force aborting her and taking the kid back to the mountain. and
Jesus.
killing the husband, and it's just this revenge story where this psychotic female mutant clown just kills things. It was just like this bloody, horrific gore mess, and that's why I don't do dark. That's why I shoot Swamppool.
I could see why. I can. Yes. One pool,
Then,
yeah. One pool,
yeah,
yes.
Swamppool, right? Let's do
This,
one
not so much.
pool.
Yes.
One food. That's what we want to stick with because Mistah Mahvel, like I can't help it. That just sounds like to me, it's not even like, oh, I'm dark and bizarre. No, not at all. Like I wear bright clothing. I click my heels like a leprechaun because I'm short and I can catch some air. Um, Besides being in a bad mood, I'm kind of like a jolly dude. I'm just like pissed off jolly dude. But
Same
that's
here.
that. Yeah,
I'm,
you know exactly what I'm talking about.
it's like I'm usually like think about this like I can be happy like right now I'm usually a really happy go lucky pretty happy person, and then somebody like there's this fucking cocksucker, pardon my French. um his name is Jason Inman, works for DC. He's a part of their PR, their public relations shit. He also is he years ago, I knew him, knew him through Twitter. He's like, "Hey man, can you give me a job?" I was working at Major Spoilers, writing some articles and shit like that, reviews. And I was getting kind of burned out on it because I was not getting no fucking recognition, wasn't getting paid. I was basically working for exposure. Back, being the dumb fuck that I was, I learned hard way, and I'll admit I was a dumb fuck for doing that. And he's like, "Hey man, give me a job doing there." I said, "Okay, sure, I'll try to do what I can." So I did. I put in like word form and everything. Nothing happened because he was a nobody back then. He gets all pissy at me because he didn't get contacted for a gig, and it was like I'm like, dude, I'm doing, I asked, they didn't respond. I did you a fucking favor. They're not going to pay you. And he's like, well, fuck you too. I was like, well, fuck you then, asshole. And like we going back and forth, and then he started doing some crazy shit. So like fucking going after me in DMs. Put one of his DMs out there, get the fucking thing deleted off. That kind of shit. I was like, all right, motherfucker, you want to call my ass out? Fuck you then. But it was like turned into like a little flame war shit. But he's the face of any of the DC All Access. Fuck you, you piece of shit. But that right there, I go back to being happy. We go angry and then go back to being happy. And you call that insanity if you want. It's like, oh, Larry, you'll never have any friends. You're gonna die alone. I'm like, we all die alone, asshole.
Yeah.
It's like, but the thing about it is, he's one of the, he's a star fucker because he was like, oh my god, oh Lloyd Kaufman from Trauma. Okay, who gives a fuck? The guy makes trash cinema. That's self-admitted. Okay, good. He's like, whatever. It's like that's all you're ever going to be is you're a fucking parasite going from thing to thing. You'll never. He did two things. One of that pulse shooting comic thing, and then he did something with Alterna. Because I know because his wall-eyed fucking tiger shark girlfriend, sorry, tiger shark, fucking hammerhead shark girlfriend, wife, whatever the fuck she is like, apparently blocked my ass too, so good riddance. Fuck him. I can't tell between tiger, shark, something. The eyes on either side of the head. The check for animals coming. But that's the thing. It's like mostly pretty positive and very like I support what I like, and if I really dislike something, say if you were to do something, I'm not gonna go and I didn't really care for it. I'm not gonna bash you for it. I'm not gonna be like, how fucking dare you do this? I'm like, I'm just not going to support it. I'm not saying that would ever happen, but like that kind of thing. But there's people like, you need to know I hate this. I'm like, you can't please everybody.
No, and another thing too.
Thank you, Braylon. Sorry to interrupt you. Thank you, Braylon. Braylon just tells me they let him go because of creative differences. Oh, good news of the night, Braylon. You're a scholar and a gentleman. But sorry, Mr. Mahvel. Sorry to cut you off.
No, you know what I mean. It's another thing that I'm very proud and unapologetic for is and it kind of gets to me too, because some people will always consistently call me out on it on Twitter. The whole, oh, I used to, like, I'll say something, they won't like it, and instantly it's like, oh, I used to admire you for that.
Oh, fuck them. Yeah, fuck them.
Just like my fucking art. When I was a kid, you didn't know who the fuck the guy was. You saw his picture sometimes in Wizard. You knew his name because it was on the cover. You just loved his fucking art. Do you like my art? All right, then get it. If you don't. But does it matter who I am as a human. It does my opinion, and that even chimes to things like when you talk about the current sitting president. You know what I mean? Who gives a fuck about personal life? I'm gonna go and get the job done. You know, somebody asked me for a commission. I'm very fair about my prices. I'm always upfront. I'm always polite. You know, I'm very flexible about due dates. Um, I'm very flexible about pushed deadlines due to funds. You know what I mean? I'm not a piece of shit. If I was supposed to deliver something to you on the 11th, and on the 11th, I'm like, hey, I got this stuff. And you're like, bro, I still can't gather the money until the 17th. You know what I tell you? That's cool. I'll hit you up on the 17th. I'm not a piece of shit. Live your life. You know what I mean? And it just gets to me lately that it's like, I don't want to have to watch myself, you know, like that really kind of needs to end. I never professed to being anything more than kind of a piece of shit. That the reason I put out that, the Batman quote, it's not what I do. It's not what's on the inside that counts. It's what I do. That's how we need to be seeing it. Does it really matter that in my life I'm kind of mean-spirited jerk because I just am? Or does it matter that I'm going to bring you the quality that you've been asking for? You want to read a good story? I'll give you one. Do you really care that I laugh when someone trips? You know what I mean?
I think honestly, you're honest with yourself, and the problem is I'm honest with myself. That's why I call myself an asshole. And you understand that you're a grumpy fuck for the most part,
exactly.
But you're very happy-go-lucky. But there's a lot of people that are in so much fucking denial. Like, no, I'm a good person. I believe just like everybody is crazy to a certain extent, everybody's an asshole to a certain extent. Even your fucking clergy, politicians, babies. Babies can be fucking assholes. Puking on your fucking clothes. I got like my cousin hand me your ugly fucking baby. And the baby fucking clawed my arm up and then fucking puked on my shirt. Like, yeah. Oh, you didn't hold it properly. I'm like, I didn't want to hold your fucking baby. Yeah. And then the baby started crying because I said, I don't want to hold your fucking baby.
Even going back in the past, you look at a president like JFK, highly regarded. You know what I mean?
He was a piece of shit. He was a piece of shit.
But I personally say, I know objectively he had to be a piece of shit because he was a rich fucking guy from Massachusetts.
His father made money off the fucking bootlegging, and his father was a goddamn criminal. His father had his sister lobotomized, and then JFK was fucking everything that moved.
He was a rich son of a bitch. I'm sure if a kid fell down right in front of him, he would have been like, hey, move this little bastard, I'm walking. You know what I mean?
Less cameras around,
That back then, because you couldn't pry into the president's life back then.
Well, they pried into it, but they kept their mouths shut. See, they all knew that he was.
But there wasn't like this massive media that within seconds of somebody knowing something, it's already worldwide.
Yeah, true. But but the thing about it is they knew about it, but they kept their mouths shut because it's the office of the president. It was Nixon that stopped that from happening. But you had Kennedy, who had a back brace. He was a fucking pillhead. He was fucking everything in the movie. He was a multiple adulterer. He was a piece of shit. Same thing with his brothers. But everybody loves him. He's like American Camelot. Fuck that ugly ass family and that drooling great grandson. Where the fuck is he? Looked like he was lobotomized like his aunt.
More than likely.
Yeah, those are like I'm like the pride of Massachusetts. It's like we sold liquor. We sold liquor through the prohibition.
Were the Clintons of Massachusetts. The Kennedys were the Clintons of Massachusetts. And I should know, I'm from Massachusetts.
Yeah. Yeah, nobody could ever accuse Ted Kennedy of not getting women wet.
Yeah. No, like the big thing. Oh, the president, he fucked a porn star. Are you telling me that a rich billionaire piece of shit, asshole, arrogant motherfucker fucked a porn star back in the fucking early 90s? Yeah, no shit. Yeah, I know that. I already knew that. I already knew that before you even told me that, without even knowing that, because it's like, yeah, no shit.
What about
same way, like I'm so mad at like Hollywood stars getting this pass when it's like we all know these are rich pieces of shit. You know what I mean? That they wouldn't even let us within their fucking breathing zone. You know?
Yeah.
What are you talking about?
Their
You
armed
guys don't
security, would forcibly remove us.
right? Yeah,
The ones that have they're packing heat.
they're
They're using
heavily
physical intimidation tactics. But you shouldn't have your firearms. I'm like, fuck you, get the fuck out of here. If you don't like
right.
America,
Well,
go move to France with your pedophile
look,
Roman Polanski.
I'm even one of those people. I don't like guns, and the reason I don't
Oh,
like
I
guns
love them.
is, well, no, I'm mine is more to the extent of when I was younger, uh, I wasn't, I was a knucklehead in the streets. Uh, so I don't know. To me, guns symbolize like the wrong path taken. So therefore, I don't. And when I say I don't like guns, I don't mean like ew, get them away. It's more one of those like I don't like that weapon. You know what I mean? I seen that weapon used not honorably. And that sucks. Like I've had to seen that weapon used unhonorably. So I just, you know what I mean? Me and
You
that
have an
weapon.
association with it. I understand.
Yeah.
That's like anybody that's like, you know,
Not
if
even like
somebody's faced gun violence or seen like that, seen what you've seen. Like
because
me, there was occasion where uh, when I was a kid, my babysitter and her girlfriend were here. You know, back when you say girlfriend and not mean lesbian lover, but girl who's a friend kind of thing.
yeah,
And the girlfriend was a pastor's daughter, Baptist pastor's daughter. So of course, you know, she was kind of loose with her dating ways, and she broke up with this guy, and the guy was trying to, he tracked her down to, the house, and was kicking down the door and all that shit, and he kicked down one door, was trying to kick down the other, and I told my babysitter, like, let me go get the shotgun, and she's like, no, stay here with me, I don't want you to go out of my sight. I'm like, I don't want to get killed. And so I'll reach for I went and got a kitchen knife instead because she wouldn't let me leave her sight. So it was in the kitchen. So at that point, from that early age, I think the next week I asked my mother, "Can you show me how to use that shotgun?" And so, that's the first time I fired a gun. It's like, and like because she was concerned as well. It's like, who the fuck is this guy that's broke into my fucking house kind of thing. Like, what, is that kind of shit. It's like, so at that point, calling the fucking cops because you're barricading the door. The guy is trying to kick down the fucking
yeah,
door. You're going to kick down one, and he's trying to get the other one because there was in the South we have a lot of places have porches. A lot of
yeah,
but that does happen up north too. I've seen that in Delaware and shit like that, but it ain't that common. It ain't common down here. It ain't the kind of porch you sit on there and drink a mint julep or some shit like that. But close
yeah.
enough.
No,
But with
no, and
yeah.
wrong though. Like when I say I don't like guns, I mean more to the extent of like that's not something I'm into. It is pretty exciting when somebody is showing off their collection or something like that. Because I got plenty of buddies that are into it and they go shooting all this, and they're always telling me that I gotta go get my license and join the fun, and I am very much tempted. And actually, I mean, these days it sounds like a blast. Uh, but I very much believe in the right to own a fire. I don't even know how that's up for dispute. You know what I mean? Like that.
Yeah.
That's just a dumb. That's just dumb. It's just
Well,
dumb.
that's the thing. There's people that they're so used to they're so used to getting their own way. They have people tell them how great they are and how amazing they are. Every idea is a great thing, and nobody's calling them out in their bullshit. It's like, no, that's a stupid fucking thing. What the fuck are you talking about? But you see these people that they're I it they're much more conservative and stuff like that. And at one point in time, I was like, oh fuck them, and I'm like, I'm in the middle, really. In the middle, in the end, I'm in the middle. And that's apparently a lot of people hate that. It's like, you got to choose a side, Larry. No, fuck that. I don't want to choose a side because I'll believe a little bit of this, a little bit of that. I don't believe all of it. And it's like nobody has the right idea, but you know, it's like right now there's comic creators like if you like, I know that Kurt Busiek is a comic writer. You go to his fucking Twitter, you wouldn't know it from the way he posts.
Yeah.
And he does. I don't know if it's like. I guess that's different because being a writer, you have a lot more free time. It seems like you have more free time. Artists, they post their like they post their like work process, sketches from the past, sketches currently, inks. Hey, this is the ink page. This book's gone. The book went up this Wednesday. Check it out. That kind of thing.
Yeah.
That they're excited for what they do for the most part. And I saw, it was not. It's nice to see people enjoy what they do. You enjoy what you do. Rodrigo enjoys what he does. You know, Rags enjoys what he does. I mean, there's everybody enjoys what they do for the most part that I'm associated with. You know, Josh, Josh Finney enjoys what he does. Kat Roach enjoys what she does. You know,
Yeah.
there's a ton of people they enjoy what they do, and that is important. You know, but there's so many people they're so focused on their bullshit that doesn't fucking matter. Oh, like I can't work with you because you believe the wrong thing. Go fuck yourself. You know what? As long as you're not a goddamn communist or supporting child pedos and stuff like that, fucking child predators, I'm pretty much good with you for the most part. I can you can say you hate white people, and I'm like, well, why are you still talking to me? The kind of thing. I
Yeah.
mean, there's people out there like that. It's like
And
your
it,
ancestors did something horrible to me. I didn't. So
and it, the
hold that
most
against me.
sad,
Good luck.
the most sad thing is a lot of it is built on assumption because of uh political preference. So I will and continue to identify. I would say I'm more like conservative that leans heavily to the center. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
Uh, I'm
more
not stark
interest than
leaning.
anything else.
Yeah. I'm more adhered to like traditional family values, the concept of free market. You know what I mean? That's what I like out of conservatism. Uh, but I grew up in a liberal state. You know, I hold many liberal ideals true to the heart. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
Uh, and no one takes the time to ask me these things. They just assume. You know, it, it, I mean, I've been pro gay for so many. I think the only time gay bothered me was when I was in high school and I assumed gay guys wanted to bone me. You know what I mean? And
yeah.
that has more to do with immaturity and insecurity
Well,
than
I mean, my thing is there are some I have met only two in my life, and I know that sounds like a lot, but it's just the circles that unfortunately I was hanging around with. There were some very uh like one guy, he was a self-proclaimed anarchist. You know, like there was a weird time in my life. I was hanging around basically communists and shit like that, and there were some weird folks, and weird as in not good weird, more like I'm gonna get my ass in trouble. Like one guy, he was he facing charges for he did something to on a federal land or some bullshit. I was like, I did not want to get into it. I was like, I don't want to be dragged into any of this shit.
right.
But there was two guys very aggressive. You wouldn't know anything. They just seemed like kind of hipster like a little bit. One of them, another one just seemed like just a normal dude. Both of them gay, but both of them extremely aggressive. Not towards me, but towards another guy. And I was seeing this happen. I'm like, not like they weren't going against the same guy, but they were, this two separate occasions, two separate people. But seeing like there are people out there. It's the same thing with guys being aggressive towards women. That does happen. It's not that common though. It's not like, oh, they see every man as a potential lay. Not every man sees every woman as a potential lay.
No.
And that's the same thing. But this group, well, okay, there was a couple twinks in the group, very clearly, very feminine men, but men nonetheless. And it was like, oh man, I have a feeling this is gonna turn into like an episode of Oz. It was kind of rough, but I like for the most part, like I lay out what I like. I'm pro gun, pro abortion, pro death penalty. Uh, I'm, you know what, marriage rights. You know what is as long as it ain't incest or underage, whatever. Like if a business doesn't want to make you a cake, you like celebrate your gay wedding, they have Christian values, they shouldn't make the cake.
Yeah,
Because
no,
it's like there's people that's like, no, you got to make the cake. That's discrimination. Go to
no,
another fucking store.
it's not.
Go to a
It,
Walmart. I'm pretty sure they won't give a fuck.
look, if and if anything, then I will turn around and say, then you must hold all religions. I won't name any because I'm just
Yeah.
not. But you must hold all religions to account when they say no because of my culture. Just
Wait. Is that a truck of peace I hear? But no, you're right. But that's the thing is that there's a lot of people. For the most part, it's like you want to. Okay, your culture says you get to wear certain garb, Now, if you live in a cold environment, there's no problem wearing a ski mask. If you're living in Miami, Florida, and you're wearing a head to toe, let's say, cultural veil, as it were, take that shit off. I don't put up. That was to keep the fucking the other Bedouins and shit from snatching up the pretty women, from knowing which ones. It's kind of like it's like the mystery boxes, like they do at the fucking what is
Oh,
it?
it's loot box. They were loot boxes.
They were loot boxing. What have I got? What have I got? I got the
Oh,
Uggo.
I got Kamala. Damn.
Yeah, it's like,
I was Princess Jasmine. I got Kamala. Damn.
yeah, it's like you got the fangirl who doesn't shut up.
Right.
No, but it's like but that's the thing. It's like I at one time I used to be extremely tolerant to other people. Like learn like my main thing is like I mean when I was in high school, the only way I passed Spanish, there was a guy from Mexico and a guy from Honduras in my Spanish class. How fucked up is that? I mean they were taking.
No, they put me in Spanish class, bro.
That's fucked up, man. When they do that shit, I was like, that's like putting me in English as my second language class. That's not fair.
I got a B. I got a B. I got a B because I refused to participate. Because I looked at the teacher straight in her face and I was like, I already know Spanish. I'm not the person that needs to practice. But I mean, as I've grown up, I understand her justification of then you needed to speak so that everyone else in the class felt comfortable hearing someone their age speak Spanish correctly. But I still hold to no, bitch, I didn't want to. And you can't lower a grade for not participating. I passed all the tests. You know what I mean? Like, I don't know. It's funny. It's one of those tales I love to say because of the laugh. That you see that laugh you just gave. I love that. I love telling that story because people are like, you gotta be in Spanish. Yeah, whatever. Whatever. What did you get in English? You know what I mean? That's what I tell them. What did you get in English class? Because at least I got an A in English.
Yeah.
Because that teacher care about participation.
Well, my Spanish teacher, she looked like James Brown. She was a female James Brown, but she spoke like Michael Jackson. She had like, "Hey class, we're gonna speak some Spanish the rest of the day. Be all Spanish. All your questions and answers be in Spanish." Hi, no, Mr. King. Mr. King, how's Spanish today? Like, I mean, I was expecting to say, like that kind of thing. You're going, it was rough.
My teacher, because I went to Catholic school. I went to Catholic school my whole life. My teacher was this little nun. I was never even sure what her ethnicity was because she kind of looked like one of those like it's anyone's guess. But she, no bullshit. She spoke the kind of Spanish that was like, "Hola, estudiantes, ¿cómo está today?" And you'd be like, "Oh no, it's happening. I'm in this class. Why am I in this class? I can't be in a class with a teacher speaking more Spanish than me, dude. What's going on in my life?" And it was really funny situations where I was like, this lady that can't pronounce half of her R's, you know what I mean? Just gave me a B because I refused to speak. I refused to participate. You know what I mean? I didn't want to go to the front of the class. I didn't want to spell things out on the board. I didn't want to be part of the greater conversation. So it's always been one of those funny things to me. Like that lady actually gave me a B, but whatever, I'll take the B. I don't know. I wanted to go to French class. I wanted to learn French because then I would be trilingual. But I guess that made too much sense.
See, the idea of learning a language in high school, my brain had already solidified by then. You should have got me like first or second grade.
Yeah. Oh, you're right. That's when you're supposed to teach language. Yeah.
Frère Jacques, dormez-vous.
And trust me, this isn't me being biased because I'm bilingual, but I do say it wouldn't be a bad idea for this country to start adopting teaching more than one language. You know what I mean?
Teach Chinese. You're going to need that in a few years.
Well, I mean, and I was just going to say, I don't mean necessarily Spanish, but I mean, pretty much every country in the world, every other country in the world kind of speaks more than one language, Yeah. I think it would be us and Central America. And even then, Central America, there's parts where English is spoken within some of the countries. Not obviously very big, but yeah, I mean, oh no, I guess no, they're more strict Spanish only. Where North America for the most part, minus Canada, is kind of like one language land.
Unless you go up to Quebecois. The
Yeah, that
Quebecois speak Francois.
I would never.
Oh, he's a mon
I'm
ami.
scared to go to Canada. I watch
Oh.
too much YouTube to ever go to Canada. I watch way too much YouTube because I would never go to California. I would never go to Canada. I always dreamt of going to Europe, and I'm way too scared to go now. I need to stop watching YouTube because I'm never
Oh my
gonna
god.
leave.
Dude, I had two of two people I know for their wedding anniversary. They decided to go to France,
Oh
of all
no!
places.
Oh
Now this year,
no!
last was it 2016. They went to France 2016 for their wedding anniversary. So they go there. This is the whole migrant thing still going on, all that. They get there, and I basically told them, I said, "Are you like, you two seem to love Japan? Why don't you just go to Japan?" But they go to France because that's where his wife wanted to go, or they went, or she, they wanted to go. The wife and like, okay, France would be nice. They go to France. They get robbed, mugged. Uh, Person they go from France to take the channel and go over to England to go to Stonehenge and all that shit. It takes like a 2 hour drive to get to Stonehenge or whatever. Or they were only there for like 45 minutes and they get back on the bus to get out of there because it's the last bus out. So they had to, so it's like go 2 hour drive, 45 minutes to Stonehenge, then leave. And the person they went over, they stayed over later, got a later ticket to meet, and the guy was like, "Oh, I'm busy at work. I'm not gonna be able to make it." So they're sitting in England being harassed by gypsies who want them to give money. Like, hey, money, money, money,
No, no, no!
and
Oh man!
and like less than a week later, there was like right where they were staying, there was one of those trucks of peace. So
Yeah,
and
no, I'm telling you, man, I'm paranoid of the world. Everything sounds like, oh my goodness. Like I used to think Massachusetts was out of control, and then you look at you look at like California, and I mean, obviously, I know it's not happening in all of California, but I'm an East Coast simpleton, so to me, Hollywood is all of California.
it's like
Unfortunately.
San Diego and the Redwoods. That's the only two places that seem to have any kind of sense. It's like either tall fucking trees that are 1,000 years old or a military base.
That, of course, that's where you're gonna find the most wisdom at that point. Um, they just sound like, oh God, I would never go to these places ever again. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And I'm actually lucky. I blend into any SJW crowd because of my tattoos and piercings. You know what I mean? I walk right in. I'm a POC. I walk right in, and they don't even suspect me because at that point I know better. I know better, and I don't cut myself among the piranhas.
Well,
Because
that's funny you mentioned that because I went a few years back. Actually, this week marks the 5 years since the last time I was in Wisconsin, which is funny because it was a real shit show. But I get there, basically told, "Oh yeah, by the way, there's my daughter." I was staying with some friends. We're no longer friends. But see, hence again, yet again, asshole. But they were assholes as well. Like guys, like, oh yeah, my daughter doesn't live with us anymore. She turned state's witness on a guy. He's supposed to get 25 years. He's only getting 5, and his gang buddies they found out where we lived, and they come around sometimes at 1 in the morning. They honk the horn, and they harass us. We had to take the phones out of the house. We've had to change our phone numbers and on our cells. So they somehow got their cell numbers and shit, and like they were calling them at like any time of the night and day and all that shit. Like like just like hearing them talk like hello, hello, and somebody's there, but they ain't responding, like fucking with them. So I'm in the house with no firearms, and I'm like, oh my god, this is crazy. And I was told, oh yeah, it's Easter Sunday dinner. By the way, Larry, don't say anything to this guy named Adam. Adam, he has a drinking problem. So if you see him drinking, don't say nothing to him because he'll attack you. And I'm like, what the fuck? So the guy he's blackout drunk by 1 in the afternoon on Easter Sunday. He started drinking at 9 a.m. He was blackout drunk by 1 in the afternoon. And my friend, we had a disagreement. I was trying to be helpful, but the path to hell is paved with good intentions, but all that. But I was in Wisconsin. There's more Confederate flags in Wisconsin than I've ever seen in the South. They're these people act like they're the whitest of the white trash Southerners, but they make pretty good fucking cheese. I'll give them that much in Wisconsin. Their meats are really good too, and they serve hard fucking alcohol in most restaurants.
Oh,
Which good steak, good alcohol. Even though I don't drink, I'm like, fuck, I'm tempted. Nice, a bourbon or a whiskey or something. With a steak, I mean, pretty fucking good considering how much of a shit time I was having at the time. I was like,
right.
I don't need to. You don't need to start drinking. You won't stop. Alcoholism runs in the family.
Man,
But
that
yeah, it's like I think you, like you said, you stand out pretty well in California if you wanted to.
yeah. No, I mean, honestly, I know I can blend in. Um, it's just the fact of, if I was ever there and I was blending in and like a protest or something violent went off, it's like, oh man, I'm gonna have to show my true colors. You know what I mean? Like I obviously wouldn't start fighting against, people that just want their freedom of speech. I'd have to start bashing, a couple of old silly boys next to me, but I'd be amongst their numbers, so they'd quickly swarm me and bike lock me to death. And they teach me a lesson for not being the correct kind of Hispanic.
You'd have your internalized white supremacy.
Oh no, and they don't understand how much of an insult that is. When people are like, "Oh, Mistah Mahvel, you act pretty white." I believe the term you're looking for is I act like someone born and raised in America. I'm
Yeah,
American.
American,
American. America. Of course, my English is good. I went to school here. I learned English here.
We'll forgive the accent, but that's just how it goes. No, just messing.
Oh, my accent.
I'm just busting. People bust my chops for my southern accent. I'm just busting your balls a little bit. But that's the thing. It's like that's. I'm glad there's accents because I know people say, "Oh, that's like a." You see these movies. Oh, you speak Russian with this accent. You speak Japanese with America has an accent. California. That should tell you something. A nation as a state that doesn't have fucking it doesn't have spring, summer, fall, winter. It just has weather.
Yeah.
That's it.
Yeah.
But we're real people out here.
That it even I'm not. It's funny because I don't know. Like I don't meet these kind of people in real life. Like those screechy, angry kind. Even when I've gotten into like heated debates with people, they're never like the screechy, and it's kind of like so. So to me, when I first started experiencing it online, I was like, "Who the fuck are these kind of people?" What? This not. I don't rent to these kind of people. Like, what's going on here, bro? This is not how gay people act. This isn't how trans act. What the fuck going on, dude? You know what I mean? Like, yeah, I'm from Massachusetts. I quite often interact with gay people. It because you're going to. And I don't know them to be angry, outraged, victimized people. Most of them kind of act like Massachusetts jerks. Uh, you know, so it's weird too to see how things go online and how they actually happen in real life. Because even my state, Massachusetts, for what it's portrayed, you would think that it was there were blue-haired land whales running around everywhere, shutting shit down. It's not. It's a blue state mostly because it's blue collar blue state. You know what I mean?
Yeah, even though the Democrats have fucked over the unions.
Well,
and,
not, but
all that.
that's where they're all pretty much though, like saturated in Boston. You know what I mean?
Yep.
And like surrounding prestigious towns of it. And that's actually a very small chunk of the state. And anybody from Massachusetts know you start going west and shit gets a little funky. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
You start Western Mass and it is way more rural. You literally cross into a different world.
Oh, that's the same thing here in the South, man. Like we got see North Carolina. I'm in here in North Carolina, and the Raleigh, what they call the Triangle, Raleigh, Durham, Chapel Hill. that area where they got that's where Epic Games, the people that make Gears of War, they're from there. Dell makes computers from there. You got the colleges, you got the current Bulls, you got a bunch of other stuff. You got these manufacturing, like a lot of tech there in the triangle. There's also these medical technology places. You got the hospitals, these pretty good hospitals up that way. Then you have uh, Wilmington. That's a hub for filmmaking. They made Iron Man 3. They've made Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, the original 90 Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. They made you know a bunch of movies down there. Crow. They made that down there. And then you have like places like Charlotte and Asheville. Now Charlotte's, that's where NASCAR is. So it's a very capitalist city. They charge you like to get a room there. They charge you like a occupancy tax, like 15-20 bucks or some crazy shit like that, just to stay within the city limits, just the honor to stay with, so they can fucking rake you over the coals even more. But a place like Asheville, which is basically it went from being kind of like not necessarily a sleepy town, but decent sized place, to being like a hipster colony, like with Austin, Texas, or what is it, Williamsburg, Brooklyn, that kind of thing.
Yeah.
That deal. And what's the place south of Boston? It used to be a really slummy area near Boston, south of Boston. I forgot the name of it.
There's a
Not Dorchester.
What?
Damn it.
Mattapan, Roxbury,
Roxbury, the Roxbury. That's one of the new the hipster capitals in Massachusetts. One of those, like that kind of thing, where it used to be like very slummy. You have to worry about getting stabbed.
Oh man, trust. Oh yeah, no, I know. And the thing is, with those areas, what ended up happening was like big development companies, like projects, started buying the low income housing and kind of repurposing and selling it as like kind of high-end townhouses targeted towards professionals, with the tagline of 15-minute ride to Boston on the T, which is technically true. And then it really what you're seeing is gentrification at that point.
Yeah.
There's no other way to say it. You know what I mean? That's what's happening in some of those neighborhoods. You even see it like in places like Chelsea, along like the shoreline, really cleaning them places up, and which leads me to my next point. One of the things that breaks my heart is so online I have to call out soy boys. In real life, a bunch of them are my friends, and they're pretty cool dudes. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And they wouldn't know that I have to battle for my life online because I'm constantly smeared as a bigot. You know what I mean? And it sucks because a lot of these dudes, they're cool guys, and we get along because we have similar interests. You know what I mean? And it sucks that then. By night, I'm Mistah Mahvel, and I have to go online and battle their brethren because they hate me.
The keyboard warrior, Mistah Mahvel versus the Soy Boys,
right,
the Infinite Legion.
Right. By day, I'm slapping them 5 and giving them cool tattoos and going nuts talking about comics and games and stuff. And as soon as the tattoo is done and I'm cleaning up my area, I'm going to Twitter where I'm tagged in a funny thread, making fun of the soy face. You know what I mean?
Well, it's well deserved though. I mean, to be,
No,
and that's
right. But it's
and the biggest problem is
like in real life, that's not how they treat me. But they have no clue. They have no clue that it's like, oh, it's just I'm smart enough to not tell you my true politics and never bring it up. You know what I mean? And
yeah, I know the same thing. I got two good friends, two good people I know, and another. Well, I've known them for about 7-8 years now, so I guess they're friends. But I found out the hard way: do not talk about politics. Keep it to pop culture and like general, like, hey, how things go in life. Because you start talking about politics, or they'll bring something up. I mean, we got into not a slap fight, but verbal slap fight. Over circumcisions and shit. I'm like, what the fuck? I'm like, like that kind of thing. And it went from body politics to politics. Oh dear God! I was like,
Oh, I
what's
mean,
the point?
I was once in like an hour-long argument over why the fuck would you say pansexual and not just bisexual? Oh, well, because of the other genders. No, yeah, I've been in those, and you learn right away. You don't pick those fights in real life. You save that for online. In real life, you got to deal with people, and that's what social media destroyed. We used to have common courtesy, you know, and you don't anymore because fuck you, you're a bigot and I hate you.
Yeah,
Uh, fuck you. You don't agree with me, so go fuck yourself because you're behind a screen name and I'm behind a screen name. And that sucks because in real life, and then the other point too, which I know a lot of people get the frustration is you would never fucking talk to me like that to my face. Like you would never ever spout those words. Like half the shit they get at me for, despite me being a short individual, I'm aggressive in real life, and I'll get in someone's face, and I know these guys will back down to me because I know when I'm dealing with a man that would get intimidated just by my aggression. That at that point they're like, "Oh shit, I'm about to get my ass whooped by a real little dude." You know what I mean? Which is gonna be twice as embarrassing because this little dude's about to hop on me. And you can't win in Twitter saying that. Hey, what are you gonna do? Oh, I'll punch you, dude. Shut up! I'm about to punch you. Shut up, kid. Shut up, kid. Oh, I'm about to snuff you. You can't. And it's like people get away with getting really brave and saying things uh, because there's not the repercussion of the face-to-face confrontation, uh, which sucks. Um,
well, since I've had issues, like I've met people at conventions. I go to Heroes Con, and I meet some people like, oh, I think I hit it off pretty well, and I'm like, oh yeah, I'll keep in touch, and I try to reach out to them online. Like they'll lie right to your face because either they don't want to piss you off in person, like like that kind of thing. Like be fucking honest with me, like that kind of thing. Like I'm not going to shine somebody on, in person. I'm not going to waste their fucking time, and I don't want them to waste mine. And there have been a couple people like that. I'm like, what the fuck's wrong with you people? And then, but there have been some that, like you reach out to them after the fact and like, hey, how's it going? Nice to meet you. Da, 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 da. Like that was cool. That's nice and cool. But that's been few and far between. It's usually been the, shine you on. But to meet somebody in person or talk it over, like, thankfully, I haven't really had an issue with a lot of talking trash online, dealing with somebody back and forth. Because for the most part, like, okay, they're annoying. They just want attention. I'll just mute them. Because it's like you could tell it coming. It's like at that point, what is the point of engaging this person? They are when they come at it to a certain angle. Like if you can clear something up and you can find common ground or whatever, hey, great. Might not find common ground, but bygones, bygones, whatever. Water under the bridge. Good luck with your life later. Fine, that's going to happen. That shit happens. But then you get these people like you want to talk. Like it's like, you know what? I got a live stream. Come on, live stream. Oh no, I'm gonna do that. I don't got time for this shit. Like what? If that were to happen, like yeah, offer it up. Neutral ground. I have no stake in this battle. You know, because it's like I try to play devil's advocate for the most part. It's like these people like, oh, like I was banned from England for life, and all I did was speak out. I'm like, maybe you wanted to get banned so you can make yourself a little, higher status. Maybe
yeah,
you, like that kind of thing. It's like it wasn't just I did nothing wrong. Like you maybe intentionally did some stuff so you could say I'm so influential and powerful that they banned me from the UK. Like that. I'm not well. I can't put stuff past people. People have the capacity for really horrific things. I have seen this. I have witnessed this with my own eyes. I know that this can happen. So saying like, "Oh, nobody would ever be that low." Yes, they would. Yes, they would. But
yeah.
it's
That
a damn shame.
and people should know their opponent too. Um, it, like, don't come at me be, because I have only one way that I come back at you, and it's usually the piece of shit way. You know what I mean? No one should ever be shocked that if you come at me, then I instantly become a piece of shit. You know, um, like even look, my Dalsima, my little fighter icon.
Yeah,
If you're in a fighting game, it's because you want to use the piece of shit moves. You know what I mean? And you're gonna cheese the game out by pushing a guy into a corner and just you know,
Spamming the shit out of
just
it.
spamming the shit out of them with just at a certain point mockery. Because once I know I've gotten to the person, I stop trying to make a point and I go right into mockery because that's the death move. Once someone's all in a tissy, you don't even need to state a point anymore. You just continue to mock them and they deconstruct on their own. I do it all the time. That's how I used to annihilate. Um, I don't like to do that because I stay upset afterwards. Uh, because no matter how much I identify myself as a piece of shit, I guess at the end of the day, I do end up feeling bad. You know what I mean? And I'm I'm still a piece of shit, so I don't apologize, but I do feel bad.
Try to better
Uh,
yourself from this situation. It's like,
you know what I mean?
like
And
if there's
like,
something out of my control, like if I try not to apologize because it cheapens it. Like there's a lot of people like, oh, I'm sorry, I'm so sorry. Like, don't do that. Apologize when you really mean it. Like
yeah,
when you really fucked up. If hey, something came up, I wish like hey, like hoping no hard feelings or something. Okay, whatever, that's fine. But and you fuck up, you maybe apologize. If you fuck up on something.
yeah,
But if you learn from it, like yeah, because what's the point? Like, especially some random person, like if whatever for like some random person, something like that happens. Okay, yes, apologize.
like
if somebody apologize, but whatever.
I mean, and I said it, and I'll even say it again right now. I once acted as if paneling a page was a breeze. I apologize. I was a piece of shit. I was wrong. That's not how it goes, and that's disrespectful to people that you know what I mean. Do it all the time, and
Yeah,
maybe it had a lot to do with they're so talented they made it look easy, and I thought it was easy, and I was wrong, and that's the kind of stuff I apologize for. But if it's something like we got into an altercation on social media, nah, dog, you're just gonna have to eat it. You're just gonna have to eat it. Like the best I'm gonna give you is, all right, I just won't bring it up. I'm a big enough person, I won't bring it up. You know what I mean? But you're not gonna get like an online apology for me because odds are usually if it gets to that point, um, I did try my best to be reasonable at first, you know.
yeah.
But once I see there's no point in being reasonable, then I unleash because why the fuck not? I know the rules, I know the terms of services, I know what I can and cannot say, and I'm gonna get you, and that's it. That's it. I've gotten in trouble. I've gotten my Twitter bans. I know what I can and can't say. Some people told me that, oh no, you're bowing down. No, 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 no. There are rules to a game. You know what I mean? If you're trying to beat a level in a game and you're trying to go against the rules and that's why you're losing, follow the rules of the game and I bet you'll clear the level. And that's how I do it. You know what I mean?
Unless you tap into a debug mode, but then then
Yeah.
again,
In real life, I can't mod the shit out of Twitter, or I would have. You know what I mean? I would have modded the shit out of it. Oh man, I would have been putting all sorts of just fucked up stuff.
oh, Jesus.
Well,
I,
not even just I would have responded with the words I wanted to use. You
mhm.
know, what I mean? Like and I'm not even talking about like awful, naughty, racist word. No, I just really want to call somebody a fucking retard sometimes.
Yeah.
Fucking retard. That's it. Like
That's
what
a
you did.
term of endearment for the New Englanders right there.
You know, it's like you're fucking retarded. Like you're dumb, kid. Like you're dumb. You know what I mean? Like, and you can't. I gotta find ways around it. I kind of gotta talk around it and kind of imply that, you know what I mean? And that's lame. So eventually too, I'll lose my patience because, uh, I don't. You know what I mean? After a while, you're like, oh, leave me alone, dude. You're still going with this.
Yeah.
Like you're still going with this. Like we can't settle this with you're fucking retarded, and then you tell me no, go fuck your mother, and then that's it. We can't do that. Like that. Why that? Like that would be so easy if it could just be ended with yeah, 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 go fuck your mother. You know what I mean? Um, but no, they drag out. They drag out. Just like this live stream has. I just
Yeah.
realized.
So I think we're gonna wrap it up shortly. But yeah, it's been
I
but
just realized it. It's been a very good conversation. I didn't even
it's
know
been
that.
very good conversation. I'm quite enjoy. I'm happy that you enjoy the stream,
Oh no,
and
sir. Well, sir, I will. Honestly, you and me seem like the type of dude that get asked to leave the bar by the end of the night.
Well, the matter is, I would because I wouldn't order anything.
Well, no, you know what I mean. All right.
Oh yeah, I know what you mean. It's like that's the thing. Like I shoot the shit. Like I. This is what I used to do basically at the comic book store. On Wednesdays, I would be there from before they opened till after they opened, and I'd have fucking food delivered to the comic book store. You know, they drop it off like pizza or some subs or some shit like that, and we just sit there and shoot the shit at the comic book store in the back where the where the computer is and shit, where they'd order from Diamond and all that. But we sit back there and shoot the shit and just talk, and like sometimes they get a little heated, sometimes they won't, because the guy was like, I took a course in college. I know what Stanley Kubrick really meant when the scenes go blue in the movie Platoon, not Platoon, Full Metal Jacket. I'll get confused. But when the scenes go blue in Full Metal Jacket, that's a dream sequence. So what happens is really Animal Mother is really gonna repile, and to say otherwise, that just shows your ignorance and your stupidity. And I really can't help you from there. I'm like, go fuck yourself. You're out of your fucking mind. It's like, and it's like, well, you don't have that's a great comeback. You don't have no. It's like, well, I'm like, yes, you spent money to have a fucking teacher tell you that, and you're repeating it like a goddamn parrot. Have a fucking original thought. I guarantee that you look it up online, you can see that. It's like they talk movies with the movie like these fucking like the whole, well, the two female ends of the seatbelt in Jurassic Park shows life finds a way, right? Like that kind of bullshit.
Oh man, no, I'm totally team tone down the fucking college talk, bro. We're not, you know what I mean? We're not in a college auditorium right now. Tone it down. Talk to me like a normal person. I really hate the over intellectual arguments where it's like, you know what I mean? It's like, all right, dude, I get it. You're fucking smart. I get it. Like, that doesn't make you right. Like, being smart means you're smart. It means you have all the knowledge on one thing, But let it go, dude. I don't know. It's like, all right, cool. All right, you're very smart. That's the equivalent of, once again, me saying, yeah, all right, then you want to fight, kid? You know what I mean? That's the extreme on that. That's I would say that's toxic intellectualism right there. That's throwing around your brain cock. You were oppressing me with your brain cock, and you brain spreaded. You brain spreaded on our conversation train.
Oh my god, that sounds really awful. I don't want to end the stream on that, but I will say I'll end it on this. I wish you the best as far as like getting any kind of sequential story done, whether it be short stories, whether it be a mini series. I would love to see kind of like what they used to do, the ash cans, like kind of a story sample. Like, this is what to expect from the comic for Wanpool and your Lady Hellspawn, whatever you call her. I mean, we'll probably talk about DMs or something, whatever's up, or just that kind of thing. But I would love to see that happen for you if that's what you want to go for. Like, if you're like, boom, I got to get this shit done. Fuck all the people that are doing, they're talking about comics, but they actually ain't making them. It's one. I mean, that making comics ain't for everybody. But when I see somebody with your talent, and your fucking drive and passion, and your useful arrogance. Like, yes, I know I'm the best, motherfuckers. I know you can't handle it. You hating motherfuckers.
Dude,
I'm not wrong. I don't think I'm wrong in that, but
it's because I still got 80s glam rock fucking rock star mentality. I never.
You're like Freddie Mercury minus the AIDS.
Yes. Oh, I don't sleep with guys.
Well, that too.
More power to you. I'll hook you up with my cousin. I'm sure you'll be very happy together. But I will also end on the positive note of Mr. Larry King. It is always a freaking pleasure to converse with you. You're one of my favorite people. This is always a great time. Fuck the rest. I talk to who I like, and I chill around who likes having me chill around them. And Mr. Larry King, you're one of those people. So thank you once again for having me on.
You're so very welcome. We're going to do this again soon whenever your schedule allows it.
Yeah, we should definitely get another idea bounce session, even if it's like on the spot, just totally ad-libbing I
Oh,
do.
as you've
Or
seen, we shoot the shit pretty well, whether we have a topic or not. We find something to talk about.
man,
We're
I got you.
simpatico in that
Birds of
regard.
a feather, kid. Birds of a feather, guy. That's how it goes. Birds of a feather.
Birds of a feather flock together.
Absolutely, absolutely. But sir, I will get off because I realize that my alarm will be sounding in 7 hours.
Yes, yes, and I probably got to go ahead and get me something to drink because I feel like I'm about to turn into a pile of dust. So thank you, Mr. Marvel. Thank you guys in the chat for being so fucking active and having a great time. Looks like y'all had a great time, and we'll be doing this again soon. Sunday will be the Super Star Wars stream. We got Tim is scheduled. Same thing was Mega Gears X. I will match to get a third share in other than me. And so that shall be interesting. I'll be in touch with some people. So everything Star Wars, and I'll get ribbed for saying that the Midichlorians are not as bad as everybody says they are. see, I'm getting it now. So go ahead and start to.
You should have said that before my heart felt. See, now you make me. You make me.
Oh shit! Well, see, just like
you.
Empire, we're ending this on a down note.
Don't change. Don't change.
All right.
I like Jar Jar, so there you go. There's.
All right, folks. This is the last episode Mr. Marvel will ever be on. Thank you, and wave farewell to him. Bye, bye, Mr. Nah, man. All right, folks. We'll see you next time. Good night and good luck.